Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are in Austria. This is the Red Bull Ring, and today is the Coach Dave Academy LMP2 hours of the Red Bull Ring. My name is Paul Jeffrey, and I am delighted. It is my honour, it is my pleasure, and it is my privilege to be virtually alongside the one, the only, Mr. David Christie.
Hello there, Paul. Thanks for having me along. What a return back to iRacing. So excited to be back here again after last week's chaotic finish to end all finishes at Sebring as Maximilian Walmuth sent it up the inside on the final lap. My God, I hope we have more of the same drama tonight. Red Bull Ring and the LMP2's. This is going to be a spicy affair.
Yeah, it really is. The Red Bull Ring, of course, is a track well known to Formula One fans, having had more than their fair share of time on the Grand Prix calendar in different eras. 4.3 kilometres in length, 10 corners. On paper, David, looks very, very simple, but in reality, this is one of those tracks where it very quickly bites you in a very big way, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and I think most of that is down to the raw elevation changes that happens here at Red Bull Ring in Austria. You know, you go up to the likes of Remus, that tall right-hander, and because it's off camber as well, the car really wants to lean in, and these LMP2 cars aren't known for being able to sway from side to side, so they prefer to be going fast when they're turning the corner, and when you go slow, that's when the accidents do tend to happen. And I think we're going to see that tonight with quite a large spread in times, I would imagine, certainly more than we had with our GT3s.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, these are one-off fun events here on the iRacing platform at Coach Dave Academy. There's no championship, there's no big prizes. We're all in it for the giggles and for the fun, which, with a racing driver, even a virtual racing driver, tends to lend itself more towards throwing caution to the wind than we would otherwise see, as David quite rightly mentioned last time out at Sebring. A bit of drama there for you, so make sure you catch that one if you've not done already. And here, Dave, we've got, 3 really good overtaking opportunities, but all of them come with a little bit of jeopardy. As you mentioned, we've got the Dallara LMP2 car, a very stiff car, a car that does not particularly like going over curves. And to be fast, you need to go over curves.
The P217 is a bit of a strange beast. I'm very, very late to the party, Paul, with this one. I had only started driving it about late last year, and my God, what a car. It is just a monster. It handles everything that you throw at it, but for those first 10 minutes, as our very own Michael Hamlet has been finding out, you have to warm that car up. You have to treat it with respect, and if you don't, you'll very quickly find yourself on the losing end of its traction control, giving up the ghost, and you usually end up sideways, either onto the track or into your nearest local barrier. A great car, needs a lot of work to be tamed, but it should make for some very entertaining racing. And just as a final word on that race from last week, Paul, it's my first time in my esports commentary career where I've actually had to go and apologise to my neighbour for screaming at 10 o'clock at night. I ended up having to buy her a box of chocolates. Such was the volume of last week's entertainment.
Fantastic stuff. Well, let's see if we're going to have a repeat here again at the Red Bull Ring. There we go. That's the famous Iron Bull. Of course, Red Bull Ring owned by the Red Bull Drinks Company, and it's been a happy hunting ground for the Formula One team last couple of years. Changed over from the A1 Ring, and of course, back in the late 1960s up to the mid-2000s, it was a monstrous circuit. Sanitised somewhat nowadays to modern standards, but still a very punchy, very short, sharp and dramatic venue by modern standards. Couple of key talking points, I think, David. Niki Lauda curve, T1, always inviting corner in which to say goodbye to any kind of prospects of finishing the race. And as you say, Remus as well, the tight hairpin, there we go, that is T1. And Remus as well, the tight hairpin up at turn 2 where Coulthard and Mika Hakkinen came together back in the day. That's another big overtaking opportunity, and an opportunity to really make or break your race, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and as you said, with Niki Lauda curve, you've got to be on the brakes a lot earlier than you actually think, because it's such a sharp corner. Remus is even sharper, but at least you kind of know what's coming, whereas Niki Lauda curve always tends to catch me off guard because it comes so quickly after the start-finish straight, as we see David Perel, who is streaming this race on his own stream as well, and taking part in tonight. So it's great to see our fearless leader part of the community here.
Absolutely. Let's see how the boss man gets on in a P2 car. It'll be interesting to watch how Perel performs. And we've got some big names actually taking part in this race as well. We were talking off air slightly. There are a couple of teams and or drivers that took part in the recent iRacing Daytona 24 Hours, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. I think Syandra, Alex Gall is another one who was taking part in that top split. So I mean, that is incredible performance and pace that comes with that that expectation. But again, these fun races, these one-off races, it's a chance for everyone to kind of let down their hair and actually enjoy it. And I don't know if you caught much of the Daytona 24 this weekend, but I mean, one of the cleanest, I've got to say, from certainly from the top split and through all of the splits that I saw. And again, on an infrastructure point of view, fantastic to hear that it looks like there was no real issues for anyone wanting to take part.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And again, we've spoken about this many times in many different series. It's just yet another sign of the uplift in quality professionalism of esports sim racing, both drivers, event organisers, broadcasters, and across the board. And great to see events like the Daytona 24 Hours, a well-established long-distance endurance sim race, taking off, continuing to take off and capture the imagination of the public. Meanwhile, getting back to the 2 hours of the Red Bull Ring here at the Coach Dave Academy, we're in qualification. You can tell because in the top left-hand corner it says qualify, 1 minute 16 seconds complete of a 15-minute session. Ahead of a 2 hour race, David, on a track like Red Bull Ring, we're all in the same cars. How important is qualifying? Obviously, qualifying is important, but is it going to be a critical deciding factor in an event like this, do you think?
Maybe. I'm not sure. You would think, right? Logic obviously says, oh, you have to qualify, you have to be up near the top of the grid. It's well, there's you know what, about maybe 20 cars taking part tonight, so I don't think it's all that important, especially with how important the toe is on this circuit. And I'm just thinking on that point there as well, I would say it's more important sticking with a group. If you can't be up front, then it's going to be more important sticking with a fast group than it is having pace and getting a good qualifying position, because it's all about having the rhythm and having that pace to keep things going, especially with how fast this circuit is here, Paul.
Yeah, and that is a massively important point that's very well made there. Slipstream will be key, much like Monza, where you've got very, very long straights. Exactly the same here at the Red Bull Ring. Sector 1, the run uphill into the Niki Lauda curve, very, very long straight. But then, once you get out of Niki Lauda curve, as long as you've got a good launch, yes, there's a kink in it, but it is still firmly flat out in an LMP2 car. The run all the way down into Remus, another hairpin as we see one of the cars, Simon Demore, facing the wrong direction on the grass. But the run out of Remus and down into T3, a very long stretch of corner as well, as long straightaway as well. So if you can get in that group, as you say, if you can use somebody else's slipstream, let them pull you along the racetrack, that is free lap time. And unlike a lot of circuits, David, here, there's not many long radius fast corners, so the penalisation of being in somebody's toe is not as great. It's when the air's taken away from the front of your car, there's not that many corners for it to negatively impact, and you can very quickly be on the positive side of that weighing scale, can't you? You get the advantage on the straight line, but there's not really that many corners to ruin lap time as well.
That's absolutely spot on. And the other thing, of course, that the toe helps is strategy, because it helps you save fuel. You're not having to keep on the accelerator for as long. You can just tuck in. Don't be surprised to see drivers happy to stay in the slipstream of the car in front. They're maybe not going to be making any mad dives until it gets to the final half of the race. But the other thing that I'm just thinking about on Daytona, on that point, was we saw an awful lot of bump drafting here, and I think that if anybody was to try that here in these LMP2 cars at Red Bull Ring, it's going to end up in a very, very, very messy sim racing insurance claim.
Yeah, bump drafting is it always surprises me how effective that can be in something like stock car racing. But in an LMP2 car at a track like Red Bull Ring, where the barriers are so close and the speeds are so high, as you say, I think that's going to be a disaster waiting to happen. As we're looking now, a few times have started to get laid out on the board. Murray is the fastest driver with a 19.425, 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Dan Ferrier, who is on your screen at this moment in time. Ferrier on a fast lap. We're looking to try and see what he can do about minimising that time. Sharp in third position. Van Bommel just pops up in a fourth place, but 1.2 second spread between first and fourth position is a sizable gap. Bird down in fifth. Daniel Hanover has just gone into sixth position, 2.9 in arrears. Expect, David, these times are going to start coming down very quickly indeed over the course of the next 10 minutes.
100%, because remember, these are what they call, they're private qualifying. No, they're not private qualifying, of course. I'm talking absolute nonsense, but as we see, several cars laying by the wayside. But what normally happens in iRacing is that each car is on track by themselves to allow them a fair ability to do qualifying, and then that way you're not going to get advantage of slipstream or anything like that. As we see Dan Ferrier up into to pole position, and I'm not sure what that is, Paul. Do we think that's lack of talent? Do we think that's bit of nerves there from Michael Hamlet binning it in the first corner? Well, binning it is actually a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah.
I would most certainly put that down to a mix of lack of practice and limited skill set behind the wheel from Michael Hamlet, which is what we've seen many times before, of course. So obviously, bless him, he'll keep plucking on. We're only joking, by the way, for anybody who wonders.
I know you could literally hear him screaming in our ears. That's how loud he was and how offended. So good to see I've hit the nail on the head at such an early stage in qualifying. Joking aside, though, I mean, these LMP2 cars, I've got very, very limited experience with them. Where do you think you would fare in the field here, Paul, on this race?
Oh, we'll have to see how the times develop over the course. It's one of those cars, isn't it, where you either have a natural affinity for this kind of high downforce, high-speed prototype style car, or it's just a little bit too sterile for your driving style. I like a car that moves about underneath me. I like a car that's just a little bit more involving, shall we say. These are very Formula style car-esque machines. Let's have a look now. This is looking back at Hamlet making another mistake and going to say hello to some Armco. Luckily the car's the same colour as the Armco, so we don't really notice the damage, and that just goes to show, David, exactly how difficult these cars on this track is. You've got to be maximum attack, you've got to be full commitment into these corners, and they're the kind of corners where really it dictates whether you're going to have an accident or not 10, 15, 20, 30 yards before you actually do, because you are committed so early and the speeds are so high.
And on that point as well, again, from my limited experience trying to drive these things as well, is that whole thing about having an accident way before you actually have the accident is because you spend so long trying to save the car. It's the traction control usually cuts out, or cuts in rather, and you hear this whining from the engine as it's trying to get some traction in, and normally you would steer into the skids, and of course the traction control kicking in means that it just ends up going straight off to the scene of the accident anyway, and it's very, very difficult to save spins in these things at such low speeds anyway. So don't be surprised to see quite a lot of that tonight, especially over the 2 hours, but conversely, don't be surprised to see many of these drivers who actually can master this for a good amount of laps and do proper stints in them as well. So I think there's going to be a mix here, and this is exactly what we want to see from these community events. They're just a bit of fun. They're open to everyone. So obviously we'll be doing another one next week, and if you do want to get involved, head over to the Coach Dave Academy Discord and you can get all the details you need. There's Dan Handover there up into to 5th place, so some interesting times getting put in just now. 1:19.3 just now, but again there's that spread 2 seconds over the 11 times there just now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the drivers are starting to build confidence. The cars as well. This is the kind of car that rewards warm tyres and brakes. It rewards driver confidence. So often it is faster in these sorts of cars on these sorts of events to stay out a little bit longer than you would traditionally do. In a normal qualification session, in any kind of car, you want to put as little fuel in as possible, go out, nail your lap time while the tyres are at their absolute peak, get back in and put some new boots on. But sometimes, especially if you're lacking a little in the confidence or experience in the car, doing 2 or 3 laps, getting everything warmed up, building yourself up to that lap time can be the sensible approach. And maybe we're seeing a few of these drivers. We spoke to Dan Handover before the broadcast came on, that's not got a lot of practice in this event. That's going to help them out a little bit. We've seen a very, very twitchy moment there through the final corner. That will cost him all the way down the start-finish straight. Hamlet pops it up into 13th position, 2.4 seconds away from the ultimate pace. But this is just going back to what we were saying about driving these cars, David, as well. These are high downforce cars, so got a bit of a catch-22 as a driver. The faster you go, the more grip they generate, the easier they are to drive. But the less confidence you've got, the more hesitant you are into the corners, the more hesitant you are to commit. And these cars really don't like going slow. The slower you're going, the less downforce is generated, the less grip you've got. Because they're so stiffly sprung, the car wants to snap out on you. When it does snap, there's no way you're going to get that back again. So it requires full beans attack. Otherwise, it's going to be a handful. And the harder it is to drive, the less inclined you are to go full beans. So it really is a very difficult scenario for these drivers to find themselves in tonight.
It absolutely is, as we've got 4 minutes left to go in qualifying. The other end of that as well, Paul, is the fact that you can't actually go too hard into the corners. It is very, very possible to send the car too hard into a corner, and again, like I said, the traction control kicks in and it usually ends up that you just have a spin. Thankfully with the LMP2's you don't get the like in the GT3s, like with the Audis or the I'm trying to think of the Mercs, where the traction control kicks in and it just spits you off in the other direction. Usually if the traction control kicks in and you've gone too hot or too cold into a corner, the car just spins where it is. So it shouldn't lead to too much problems for them. They should be able to recover quite quickly, unless they do it in front of traffic, in which case all bets are off. And with 3 minutes left to go, I think we should have a good idea of how the pace is for a lot of these drivers here.
Yeah, absolutely. The man on form at the moment is Dan Ferrier on provisional pole position with, as you say, 3 minutes left to go. Ferrier just coming out of pit lane for one final stab at that, extending that advantage. Simon De Mori that we're looking at now in second position for the final part of the lap. This is the most tricky, this is the most technical part of the lap at the Red Bull Ring. One of those sections of corners where you get a mistake in the first sector, then you're going to be really struggling to recover it over the following 2 or 3 corners. Maximum attack in the penultimate turn now, using all the racetrack and more. Get the car turned in nice and early so you can get on the gas as early as possible out of the final corner. Simon De Mori currently in second position, a 19.425, crosses the line and does not improve on that time. So just over 1/10 of a second left to find. He's got enough time on the clock to get another lap. Does he have enough fuel in the car? It looks like he's still very much full attack coming down the back straight into, as we say, the Remus hairpin. This is one where you've got to watch your braking point. Don't snatch your brake on the inside. Go all the way to the left-hand side of the circuit to get a run. Snapper oversteer on corner exit as well. That's going to cost him down this following straight. So we spoke about this at the top of the show, and there we go. That snapper oversteer was just enough to decide to pull out of that one, and it's just, that's how easy it is, isn't it, David? One small, minuscule, hardly noticeable mistake, and that's the difference between success and failure.
And on that then, it all comes from that first corner, doesn't it? Because, you know, like you said, if you make one small mistake, it's amplified through the rest of the lap here, as we see Dan Handover into the final corner, then trying to be as loose as he possibly can with that steering wheel. You see it on the dash there. 120 was his last time there, so it wasn't quite enough, but again, he'll still have another lap, or possibly even 2 laps still to go here. Simon De Mori though, making his way down into that long sweeping right-hander at Schloss Gold. Makes his way through it and into the gravel again. So easy to do, and quite honestly, that is going to be the end of his qualifying session, because I don't think he's going to get across the line in time for that. But just to come back to what you were saying about one small mistake can ruin your lap, absolutely, because if you make it, say, at Remus or into Schlossgold, and then that is like 1/10 of a second there, by the time you get round to Red Bull corner, that's going to be 8/10 of a second to over a second that you've lost just because of that. So it sounds small, but it's that cumulative effect. It builds up and it builds up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The very, very fine margins here have massive consequences. We're looking at James Parker just winding up on his final lap through turn one. So Parker, clever move there, get out of the way of the cars ahead and behind, give himself a free bit of racetrack, get the maximum run. Somebody goes to say hello to the barriers behind Simon de Moray, and that's the end of their qualification session. The checkered flag is waving. Remember, anybody who started the lap before that checkered flag can finish it, as we see him now. This is Ben Hitchcock coming out of T1, too hard on the loud pedal, bang, thank you very much. Let's say hello to the barriers, and an early cup of tea. But Hanover has managed to get the car up to fourth, David, so 2.5 of a second, a good final effort.
It absolutely is. And the other thing I'm thinking about as well is the fact that with these fun events, these community events as well, there's almost nothing to lose for a lot of these drivers, because certainly if it's like it was last week, and I would imagine it is, then there are unlimited fast repairs, so the cars can just head back into the pits, get themselves fixed up and get back out there. And we saw a lot of safety cars in this final half hour of the GT3 race, which I've got no doubt, given LMP2 cars are going to LMP2, they are going to be bringing out a lot of yellow flags. I mean, look, we both did Le Mans Virtual last weekend, and the majority of the incidents, it was the LMP2 cars causing the grief, so I've got no doubt that they'll be up to their shenanigans again tonight.
Absolutely. So right, here we go then. A lot of the cars now crossing the line. Van Bommel manages to move himself up into the top six right at the very death. Looking at Michael Hamlet, currently in 14th position, 2.5 seconds just under away from that pole position, headed by Dan Sferrier from Simon de Moray in second place. So can Hamlet do enough to move himself up? He needs 0.3 of a second, but they're a little bit wide on corner exit, a little bit tight on the steering as well, David. That's going to, as we say, compromise. Unfortunately, this is a short blast down into the left-hander, but again, a mile away from the apex, skirts with the gravel, and that's Hamlet pushing, I think, a little bit more. A hell of a lot more.
Yeah, he said that he was just doing the laps for practice, and I think he heard us talking about him. As now suddenly the grandstands magically fill up for a race.
Fantastic stuff. So here we are. This is your starting grid for the 2 hours of the Red Bull Ring. Pole position for Dan Sferrier from Simon de Moray in second place. Kieran Sharp and Daniel Handover make up row 2 of the grid in third and fourth position. P5 is James Parker, 0.3 of a second away from the fastest time, alongside Thomas Van Bommel in sixth place. Jack Bird and Ian Harvey are seventh and eighth position. In P9 is George Kelstrup, just ahead of Noah Degbal in 10th position. In P11 is Joost Loon, and in 12th place is Ben Hitchcock. Running all the way down in the 13th position is Seydoth Ramesh. In 14th is Michael Hamlet, that we saw on our screens just exiting into the barriers a few moments ago. Alex Gal, P15th, having not set a time. Sai Andri in 16th position, also without a time. And Tino Ekazov in 17th place, another driver that does not have a time on the board. So it'll be yet to see, David, if they're going to join us for this grid or if they've not made it through to the start.
Well, we'll certainly find out in just a second. I've got to admit, my driver of the day is Noah Denball for his team name, which I don't have to repeat, but it likely will come up whenever. In fact, I'm pretty sure Michael just avoid showing that car at all. But that's possibly a premonition as to how Noah's race is going to go. But it looks like we've got 17 cars and not taking the pit. And Seydoth Ramesh actually taking to pit lane for the start. Thomas Van Bommel not in for the start of the race either. So, yeah, let's see what on earth actually happens here as we get ready to go green.
Indeed, so rolling start, as is always the case with this kind of car. The safety car will not start us from the start-finish line. It's going to be a short rolling start to the line. The Porsche at the front of the field there will exit on pit road, and then these hungry drivers be Amarantong in a T1. We could have disaster, we could have drama, or we could have a good old straightforward race. We'll find out in a few moments' time. This is the Coach Dave Academy 2 hours of the Red Bull Ring. There goes the safety car for his break down pit lane. Our new safety car in effect is Dan Sferrier in pole position. Immediately gets a jump nice and early on the throttle, tries to get a gap to the chasing Pike. Everybody's spreading out now, using all the racetrack to find themselves some free air as we run down into T1. Cold tyres, cold brakes, everybody needs to apply a little bit of caution. You cannot win the race in the first corner, but you most certainly can lose it. Good driving from all concerned there. Third position, that is Dan Hanover, moved up into third position, but he's vulnerable to the chasing Pike. Dave Perel just sniffing around there as well. Sharp looks to the inside. Hanover gives him the racing room, but does not get a run. Does Ken Sharp off of the corner, so Hanover holds on to third position. Sharp in position for the number 14 car of Dave Perel. You can see lurking in the background, lights ablaze, trying to find an advantage as everybody's squabbling over position. And that, David, Christie, was a cleaner start than I would have put any kind of money on before we hit the green flag.
Sorry, are these actually LMP2 cars? What's going on here? I'm all that build-up and I feel thoroughly disappointed, but we're starting to see the drivers getting a little bit squirrely here, starting to push the cars to their very edge so early on, and that, I think that was Kelstrup that was away into the gravel there, but again keeps on the road and gets going with it. And you're absolutely spot on with what you said there. I mean, this is a brilliant opening lap. Did not expect this at all. Was expecting some chaos, and I think already we've got is that Sai Andra that is down towards the back of the field there. But first lap in the books already from Dan Sferrier, still in the lead from Simon Demori. Dan Handover in third place, and Kieran Sharp looking very promising there. And Jack Bird, this is a replay of the start. Again, I just am very impressed with how they managed to do it into turn one. Is this going to be a little bit of contact there? Oh my goodness me, that was an absolute shunt up the rear end there from Noan Denball.
Yeah, that is unfortunately what happens when that's the accordion effect in these scenarios. The car ahead of you brakes harder than you're anticipating. Maybe he's accommodating other cars on the racetrack. There's nothing you can do about it. You're already on your braking threshold. And wham bam, thank you, man. There goes our contact. As we're looking now at another good fight. This is Dave Perel in the yellow and green machine, just ahead of Kelstrup behind. So Kelstrup is the man on the move at this early stage of the race. He's got the fire underneath him, racing as though he sat on a hive of bees. Desperate to find that position, throws the car down the inside. Perel was not expecting that one. A little hip and shoulder as well. Perel goes for a short break at the beach, gets the car back up and running again. Cal finds his way past in a very easy overtaking manoeuvre, and that is Dave Perel caught out firmly by that overtaking manoeuvre from Kelstrup. Fantastic stuff.
That was quite impressive, was it? Kieran Kelstrup there, absolutely get the elbows out there. This is Tino Egskov then, and this is going to be a replay from lap number 2. We can see a car blinking in the background. That looks suspiciously like Michael Hamlet, and that unfortunately looks to be either netcode or somebody switched too much brake bias to the rear there. But back on board then, and looking at Alex Gall here on the back of David Perel. This is some bump drafting going on here, and I'm quite impressed with that.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Alex Gall, of course, a driver who's very well acquainted with his car following the Daytona 24 hours virtual just last weekend. And Gall started at the back of the grid, remember, did not set a qualification time, so obviously he's looking to have himself a real nice time. But Perel does not want to give up that one. He locks the car, catches the rear of Gall. Perel continues onwards, but Gall unfortunately facing the wrong direction, and that was Dave Perel that has had enough of people overtaking him. Somebody goes for the overtake on the gravel as well, but can't keep the momentum going, and Alex Gall fights on. A wry smile from Dave Perel in the top corner there. He thinks, yeah, boy done bad, but it's only for fun, and hey, this is my event in my championship in my organisation, so you don't like it, don't come back, I'm the boss.
Oh, Paul, I love it. That was 100% a tactical move there, though, from David Perel there. Got to keep your friends close and your enemies even closer on that one. Cannot have Alex Gall showing him up like that. That was a little bit naughty, but it was quite amusing at the same time as well. This is the great thing, as we see Sai Andra making an uncharacteristic error there, going a little bit wide into the that hairpin right, and I get the feeling that is not the last time that we're going to see Alex Gall and David Perel on track at the same time.
No, absolutely not. Andrew's actually out of the race now. This is Dave Perel from earlier on. Got overtake, great overtaking manoeuvre from one of the drivers. Runs in wide onto the gravel as well. So Perel's tyres are dirty. He's out of position. He's out of focus at that side as well. And then obviously we've seen exactly what happens. And Alex Gall now 14th position. So he's still got some ground to make up. But there we go. Look, easy to do, isn't it, Dave? You lock a tyre, get the car out of control, just gets the opposite lock on, but runs out of real estate. And sadly for Gall, he's the car that's in the firing line, and away she goes.
I love the way that David Perel's car just scampers off like absolutely nothing to say here, just leaves the scene of the crime there. But the thing with Dan Handover, I mean, look at Kieran Sharp in the background there. He's having a few connection issues there. Gall will be straight back up. I mean, Gall has literally only lost about 6 seconds with that. He'll find that in about 10 minutes. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see Alex Gall back up with David Perel in about 2 laps time. As we see here, it's just a case of sending the car in. It's exactly what I said. The traction control kicks in, and that car, the back end's already gone. David slammed on the brakes to try and save the car and keep it going. You're just a passenger at that point. Nothing malicious. It wasn't intended. It's a racing incident.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, we spoke about it at the start of the show. This is more for fun than anything else. Maybe that wouldn't have been a move you'd have made in a high-profile championship race, but we're having a bit of a laugh. And to be quite frankly, I expect Alex Gall to still be in the conversation for race victory, despite being 18 seconds in arrears at this stage. So all is most certainly not lost. But big shout out for this car, the Rocket Sim Sport machine, and Daniel Handover, 2nd position. Kieran Sharp in 3rd place behind, 2.2 seconds away from the race lead. This has been a very, very useful first 6 or 7 minutes for Dan Handover. Great driving.
Absolutely brilliant start for Dan. I'm trying to figure out, I can't remember what actually happened with Simon Demori, because he was into 2nd place. It's Michael Hamlet making a move around the outside on Jack Bird. That is opportunistic to say. Oh well, that's. I'm quite impressed with that. The two of them managed to get it going. Jack Bird, I think, honourably has to give that place back. But look at that, Alex Gall now up into 12th position and now just 7 seconds behind David Perel. I have a horrible feeling David Perel might be getting sent to the moon. Yeah,
Perel is going to be under some pressure. But Hamlet, very unfortunate there. Great gutsy overtaking manoeuvre, but very fortunate to have not have lost a great deal of time there. We see the car moving to the side of the racetrack, allowing everybody past, recognises that there's been a little bit of argy-bargy at this stage in the race, and just let everybody go, live to fight another day. So good driving from Perel there.
It absolutely is, as Hamlet goes a little bit too deep into the corner there, trying to catch up with Thomas Van Bommel. Thomas Van Bommel again starting from not only pit lane, ended up having to go back into the pits earlier on as well. So he's already done a pit stop at this early stage of the race, less than 10 minutes. And to be honest with you, I was expecting at least 5 cars to have been into the pits with damage, and it's not happened. However, here we go, battle for P2 then. Dan Handover trying to fend off Kieran Sharp, and this has been raging on now for several laps, but Kieran Sharp now closer than I think ever been to Dan Handover. That gap was usually about half a second, and it's now down to just 1/10 to 2/10 of a second. Now this is closing up Simon Demori and George Kelstrup as well. So yeah, this is going to be a 4-car battle for 2nd place very, very soon here.
And this is exactly why these drivers are taking part in these events. It's not about taking the win. It's not about stroking it home at the front of the field. It's getting involved in a great race. This is Alex Gall now 11th position, soon to become 10th, I fear, as we head down into the braking zone. Gall nice and early to the inside. Hitchcock tries to defend it. Hitchcock tries to close the door when the horse has well and truly bolted, but Gal just about survives that one and makes his way through up into the top 10. But Hanover and Crew in 3rd, 4th and 5th position will be loving this fight as Simon de Moray now tries to make his comeback. So this is, we've seen this so many times before, haven't we? Hanover at the front of the field is starting to boss. Look, these cars, as there is Kelstrop getting sideways. Wow, eyes like dustbin lids after that one, I'm sure. Great catch from Kelstrop, just holds on to the car and just remains in contention.
Yeah, he's still there in the background, and while that does look dramatic and he has dropped off, the fact that these 3 cars are fighting amongst themselves means that he'll be able to be back onto the tail end of that group in no time at all. And there goes Kieran Sharp very, very wide, so that hands 3rd place on a silver platter back to Simon de Moray. Doesn't look like there's any way back for Kieran Sharp here, and this is David Perel on the defensive here. And who is that behind him? That is the number 65 of Cy Andra, having a little look there. I just think that might have been David going a little bit wide, but this is going to be on the run up to turn number 2 then. This is Remus, and I think that David, from the looks of it, might have just went a little bit wide there, a little bit of a wiggle, but yeah, can't see anything there.
Yeah, that's the thing about this sort of circuit. You make a small mistake, lose control of the rear of the car, only minute amounts, and you are immediately under pressure from those around you. Here is another replay. This is Kieran Sharp, car number 5 at the back of our picture. So this is the car that's on the attack. Sharp doesn't quite have enough real estate to pull the car to the inside and get the acceleration on the 15 ahead. And I don't know, that strikes me a little bit from Sharp, as though he's quite content to follow Hanover at this stage.
It's like we were saying before on the build-up, Paul. It's likely just wanting to keep in tow and get the fuel saving going on, but 2 seconds down the road now, it's not close enough to get any benefit of being behind the car in front. Whereas these 2 here, so as we said, with de Moray, with Simon de Moray and with Kelstrop, they'll be feeling the benefits right now, staying behind Kieran Sharp. But Kieran Sharp going to have to do a lot of work to try and catch back up to Dan Handover, and Dan is now in between a rock and a hard place here because he's not close enough to Dan's Ferrier, and he doesn't really have anybody behind him challenging him just yet. So seeing that Cy Andra takes that place from Denball, and I'm wondering if Denball's actually went off there, because it looks like Harvey gets up into 7th position as well. And now David Perel, who was 8 seconds ahead of Alex Pal, is now just 2.5 seconds, and there's what happened to Noah Denball there. Gets back on after a bit of an excursion. And David Perel then, well, this is now what, 2 seconds between him and Alex Gall.
Yep, exciting times. There is Perel doing his very, very level best to stay out of the way of one of the cars in strife further up the field. So good bit of driving from Perel, good car control. Next on the lift is Dengball, that we say that's made a mistake earlier on. It's so easy to do. To lock an inside wheel, that will induce oversteer. You can't turn the car, you can't rotate the car into the corner. And again, straight to the scene of the accident, which on this occasion was a skirt through the gravel. Kieran Sharp, 3rd position. Look at that fight behind, though. That is Murray and Kelstrop in 4th and 5th place as one. Coming down the back straight, Kelstrop in the number 16, kicks up the dirt on the outside, throws the car quite late to the inside. Has Sebastian Murray seen him? Yes, he has. Tries to close him down as hard as Simon de Moray, tries to close him down as hard as he can into the braking zone. Does a good job there to retain the position. Kelstrop, though, is using that as fuel, as motivation to find a way past that car ahead. And Kelstrop at this stage of the race seems to have a little bit more pace than de Moray ahead of him, but can he turn that into an overtaking manoeuvre? And while these two are fighting, Hanover and Sharp ahead continue to eke out that gap.
What has just happened? How has Tino Exikov got himself up into P4? What? How is that even a thing? I think that is a glitch with the timing screen there, but I saw a car going off, and I'm like, how on earth? Yeah, there we go. So he must be a lap down, but he's still showing us on the same lap there. That makes no sense whatsoever. So we've witchcraft is all I can say here at iRacing. As Sharp sends up the inside and takes that position from Dan Handover.
Yeah, that was a very clinical overtaking manoeuvre. Great execution from Kieran Sharp, but now he's under pressure. He recognises the fact, goes to the inside nice and early. Hanover decides he doesn't want to skate around the outside of the corner and get that one back, so he cuts to the inside, allows Sharp to do the work for him by running deep into the turn. Hanover now to the outside of the right-hander. This is not where you want to be. You are subject to this car running wide, which he doesn't do, so Sharp keeps the car to the inside. Hanover committed to the outside line, runs out of space, runs out of momentum. That allows Demore to buy into this fight as well. And while that's all happening, we see Kelstrop going though, not one, not two, potentially three moves. Kelstrop contact with Hanover. Hanover is the one that misses out, spins the car around, does a good job to keep it out of the barriers. But Hanover, having done a fantastic bit of racing, unfortunately pays the biggest price and drops down the running order, and that is 15,000 cars in space for just three. Unfortunately, something's got to give, and it was Dan Hanover.
Well,
and he's out as well, or down pit lane.
Yeah, I think he's just retired to pit lane. He'll be getting a fix on that car and getting back out. I'm still, Paul, I've got no idea how Tino Exikov has got himself up into P5. I mean, but that looks legit. He's on that lap. He's obviously worked his way through. And the thing is that like last lap he did a 122, but yet he's still up there. I just what? I still don't get it. My head is melting at this point.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I've completely utterly missed anything that he's done there, so I have no idea where that's come from. But congratulations to him. That's a good result, 5th position.
He was second last.
Yeah, there's maybe some kind of bizarreness occurring in the timing screen. Let's see what happens. And we're just hearing David in our ear, and Dan Andover joins us. Dan, what happened?
Well, I've just had a look at the replay. I mean, I can't disappear out of thin air. So, yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, that is.
Yeah, that's a disappointing. There's great bit of racing up to that point. What were you thinking when you were on the outside line? Were you comfortable there? Were you expecting the hit, or did that come out of the blue somewhat?
Yeah, it came out of the blue. I mean, you don't expect it to get punted. Admittedly, at the end of the day, obviously, it was good. It was good, hard racing. Shame, obviously, that it did happen in that way. I mean, trying to be as calm and collected as I would be on broadcast. As you could probably imagine, when it initially happened, I wasn't so calm and collected. But yeah, from my perspective, I'm not going to disappear. I'm not just going to give a position up. So that was my that's how it went from my side. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So yes, it's oh hello, cold tyres. It could have been worse, I suppose. At the end of the day, it could have been a complete engine done or something like that. So we're back out on track, luckily.
Are you fully repaired and able to get the car back up to speed?
Yes, we are. So fully back up. Obviously, pit strategy's off a little bit now because I have taken fuel, obviously. So we, may as well. I think we're still just about in the window, which I think is. For us isn't too bad, being just in that window, so I can still hopefully stay relatively on strategy and only have to make 3 stops, but we'll see.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, David, we were saying during the live comms that was some great racing at that stage, wasn't it?
It was fantastic to watch, and of course the thing with this is, from experience of the GT3 race last week, is that safety cars will be an issue later on in the race, and of course lapped cars allowed to unlap themselves, so that will throw Dan into contention towards the later half of the race here, and it's just a case of sticking in there and trying to keep things going, as we see Michael Hamilton to pit lane at a very, very early point in the race.
Yeah, so I mean, this is exactly what Dan needs to have happen now, is some of the cars to go away from what would be the optimal strategy. It's great to hear from him while he's out on track as well. So thank you, Dan, for joining us in the broadcast and just giving us a bit of insight into what happened there. And just while you were, while we were talking to Dan, Sayandri managed to move himself up into 5th position, 11 seconds away from a race lead. So Andre's still not out of contention. Alex Gal, that we saw make contact with Dave Perel earlier on, is up into 8th place. So 2 drivers very fit. There we go. That is Alex Gal making that 7th position now as he goes down the inside into T1, stays well away from that dangerous inside curve, and he should just about make this drag race up into Remus, although let's admit now that gold and white number 17 car doesn't fancy conceding that position just yet.
And he takes it back on the inside, but Gal tries to get the cut back out of the corner there. So this is fascinating stuff. So they're out of Remus, and you can see here now that Deadball trying to hold on to that position. No, Deadball forcing Alex Gal to work every single ounce for this. And again, really great work here, because Alex Gal gets the cutback, and Noah is going to then have the inside line for the next corner. So this is real 3,000 IQ fighting going on. And Alex Gal takes the position forcefully. And that's a bit dicey for me. Not in terms of the move, but in terms of the risk that he's taken at such an early stage of the race there.
Yeah, that's big bravery that we see on show there. And again, this is a fun race. It's a one-off event. You can afford to take these risks. You want to have some fun. You're not that bothered realistically about the race results. So that is a perfect example of the kind of moves that you can make that in ordinary circumstances would probably be slightly away from your armoury of options come a league race or a championship event. Simon Demori, that we're looking at now, in 3rd position, still has Kieran Sharp ahead of him. Dan Sferrier is still our race leader, 6 seconds almost to the good at the front of the field. So Dan Sferrier having a successful, if slightly boring, event so far at the sharp end of the grid. Kelstrop in 4th place, Sayandre down in 5th position as well. Alex Gal, that we've just watched make that brave overtake, is the last man in the top 6. So we've still got plenty of cars all within the same piece of racetrack. We see 2 retirees in 16th and 17th. That's Edgecoff and Bird. So he's gone from hero to disappearing as Edgecoff, 5th position, all the way down to retirement. So quite what was going on there, I do not know, David Christie.
Yeah, it was a shame, but like I say, I don't understand how he went from being second last to being all the way at the top. So I'm going to go and do some digging. I'm going to go and have a little look through the race archive just now and try and figure out what on earth has happened. Although Andra occasionally pops up as showing out as well in P5. That is just because of a connection issue for them. So, but look at that, Alex Gal, fastest lap of the race there, 1:19.25. So the two of them, perhaps unsurprisingly, absolutely tearing up in terms of pace here.
Yeah, absolutely. We said when Gal was involved in the incident earlier in the race, he's still very firmly in the conversation for this race victory, and I maintain that is the case. 6th position on track at the moment in time, but there is plenty of racing still ahead of us, an hour and 40 minutes to just under to be exact. So expect, and pit stops as well. We heard from Dan earlier on about the strategy. 3 stops might be the optimal way to go racing here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. So plenty of opportunity for drama. Of course, we can have driver swaps as well. You can have a maximum of 2 drivers per car. So some teams will elect to put another driver in behind the wheel. That's something else, another element of the race to look out for, as we're seeing Simon Demore now still tooth and nail for this position. Sharp ahead. He's seeing the opportunity to start making a gap from Demore while he's concentrating on Kelstrup, trying to find a way past, barking at the heels of that Dallara LMP2. Demore runs wide over the curbing out of T1. It's compromised him slightly for this long run down to Remus. Demore goes to the inside early, protects the inside line. Kelstrup will show his nose around the outside and try and cut back into the inside for an extra bit of jeopardy as well. Sharp misses his braking point and brings himself into this fight as well. So these 3 cars, these 3 drivers are having a fabulous time out on racetrack. And David, as a driver in a fun event like this one, are you happy to have fun, or are you just getting annoyed that you want those positions?
In sim racing, it's a difficult one, isn't it, Paul? Because, I mean, do drivers ever actually have fun? Yes, there'll be a certain element of having a giggle and stuff like that, but when you're behind the wheel, they'll still be wanting to push it. They'll still be wanting to take those positions, and they'll still be wanting to try and hammer it as much as they possibly can. So I think it's more a case of pride before a bit of fun there. But Simon Tamori absolutely hanging the tail end of that car coming round the final corner there. And just to confirm my suspicions on Egeskov, it was a time glitch there as Tamori just decides almost to go straight on at turn 2 there. Egeskov on lap 10 went from 16th position to take the lead of the race, so it was a timing glitch.
Either that or a monster drive that we completely missed on camera. I suggest it's probably a timing glitch, to be fair, as Michael Hamlet jumps down pit lane now, but that was dramatic from Simon Tamori. Had a couple of corners where grip just deserted that Dallara LMP2 car. So Tamori, of course, coming towards the meat of the stint. The tyres will beginning to give up a little bit of grip as well, and it's very easy once you make one mistake to get wrapped up into another now as the number 21 shows his nose down the inside. Tamori does not have the racing room. Kelstock recognises the car there, gave him enough real estate in order to not compromise that car behind. Tamori does not find a way past, but now is time to turn on the defensive to the attacking. Does Kelstrop have enough speed in that car? Can Tamori find a way past? We see a car playing the invisible and then visible and then invisible again in the background. That is Cy Andre having continued connection dramas, but Simon Tamori now shows his nose to the inside of T1. This is a dangerous place to overtake, but a good opportunity on the brakes. The 21 gets the car stopped in plenty of time and a good run out of the corner as well. Kelstrop loses position but goes immediately onto the slipstream. This is Edgecov as well, again, that we saw into retirement, having some drama with the timing screens. And hey, hello, how you doing? Hello, let's go flying. You spin me right round, baby. Right round, baby. Right round. That is, I have no words for what that is. That is something, ladies and gentlemen, that is something that you'll not see very often at all.
I'm pretty sure it's a compound fracture and a spinal injury, if not several on that one. But yeah, that is Eggsgov's race done and dusted. Michael Hamlet is out of the race as well. I think I heard him calling it quits there. Frustration getting the better part. And again, fair play to Michael for deciding to jump in very, very late on and having a little shot on it. These cards aren't exactly the easiest to pick up and play with, so again, as I say, full credit for giving it a go here. But Dance Ferrier 6.5 seconds up into the lead then, 25 minutes gone in this race. Kieran Sharp doesn't look to be to catch it up too quickly. The other thing as well is pit stops and strategy, because obviously these LMP2 cars, I would imagine perhaps they'd be coming in about maybe 5-10 minutes time for their fuel. Again, I'm just thinking back to the Daytona 24, and they were coming in every half an hour, but obviously it's a much longer track, but still it's still using fuel. So yeah, I'm not sure what you think on that one there.
I've not actually kept a tab as the sort of the stint length here at the Red Bull Ring, so I'm sure we'll find that one out in the fullness of time. But David is always seeing there's a mistake. There is a mistake from Kelstrop. That involves Cyandra as well. Be careful reversing onto the racing line. Kelstrop goes off. Andrew goes off in sympathy as well. Flashes too while he's at it for good measure.
Yellow flags. That's going to be safety car, Paul.
This is spicing things up. Dance Ferrier will be cursing at the front of the field. A 7-second lead will disappear in a blink of an eye, and that's what we call a competition caution, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it certainly added some competition into this one. Now, you would have to think I would imagine that everyone is going to go into pit lane at this opportunity here, as we see George Kelstrup here took a little bit of curb on the inside. It bounces him to the outside, and to be honest with you, Syandra, just a bit of a passenger in that one, had absolutely nowhere he could go with that car. Thankfully, as we said, free instant repairs. So they can just jump into pit lane, get the car repaired, and get back out without any real damage. So they get to... basically, it's a get-out-of-jail-free card, isn't it?
I do think Syandra could have made his way through that one, though, had he not gone on the middle pedal so hard and locked the car and spun it around. That may have opened up for him, but a bit sad to see there that George Kelstrup is out of the race, so not quite sure why. Whether that's frustration, decided enough is enough, but it's a shame to see Kelstrup, after what has been a strong race, drop out of contention and out of the running order, leaving 13 cars out on circuit as the safety car Porsche takes us around. So shame for Kelstrup there. It was a good drive up to that point, and just like we've said, one small mistake can very quickly lead to the unravelling of all your hard work. And as you say, 30 minutes on the clock, an hour and 30 still to go. Who will jump down pit road?
Well, that is a good question. We're just moments away from finding out. But what excites me about this is the fact that this brings Dan Handover, Georg Kelstrup and Saidath Ramesh back onto the lead lap when they get raved round. There you go, confirmation there from race control. Lapped cars can unlap themselves, so that means that the 15, the 28 and the 16 will all still be on the lead lap here, and we can see Dan Handover making his way around. That means that they are still within contention. Very, very early to have a competition caution with only half an hour gone in the race here, so again, a very different dynamic now to this race.
Now you're Dan Ferrier, you've got a 7-second lead, you've pushed the car hard up to this point. Are you confident in your own ability? Are you a little bit worried now? As there we go, there is Dan Ferrier, answers my question for me, jumps down pit lane and we'll get some fresh boots on that car. That is the wise move, and as you say, David, pretty much everybody bar a couple of stragglers at the back of the field takes that opportunity to go and get some more fuel and some fresh tyres on that car.
Look, I've got to be honest, I think if you're missing out on a pit stop just now, you're making a huge mistake, an absolutely huge mistake, with the exception, obviously, of Dan Handover, who is now not, if that makes sense, he's already gone round, so he needs to catch back up. He'll be coming into the pits just now, and then back onto the end of the group here. But for the likes of Ian Harvey and Ben Hitchcock, Paul, I would have expected them to be in pits just now as well. It's a free pit stop. It needs to be done.
Yeah, I agree. But this works out great for Handover, actually. Although he's made an early stop, because he can go at racing speed, he's not limited by the safety car having unlapped himself. He can either come round and join this field wherever he joins in, or he's arguably got time to get down pit lane and serve another pit stop and still join the back of the queue, but back on the same lap as the race leader. So Handover, this has worked out very nicely indeed. Harvey and Hitchcock. In fact, let's have a chat with Dan. Dan, what's the tactic? Are you coming down pit lane, or is this track position?
Oh, no, this will be track position now. I think from me, where I am at the moment, there's no point in taking. There's no point in coming in. I may as well just stay off strategy at the moment, I think, compared to where we are now. So we'll let everyone sort of go ahead. Staying off strat isn't necessarily a bad thing. It allows me to get some clean air, possibly. It's a bit of a gamble. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'd rather. Saying that, I might take a dive in the pits. I don't know. I don't really know what to do.
But you needed this safety car, didn't you? This puts you very much back in contention again for this race, doesn't it? Or for a good result.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, again, we've got to take this. Take every lap as it comes. To be fair, I still don't really know what's going to come out. I mean, to be fair, if everyone else has pitted, I may take the opportunity to gain what would be a free pit stop. Admittedly, we will be starting from the back of the field, but I'll have an even fresher car with some fresh tyres, so it might certainly be worth a gamble. I feel thinking about it now, actually. So we'll go in the pits, we'll come out, and yeah, we'll go from there. Really, I don't really know how it's going to work, but who knows?
Well, best of luck. We'll let you concentrate on your pit stop. Thank you again for talking to us, and good luck. Looking forward to seeing where you wash out in the field.
Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.
Oh, okay. So Dan, thinking about going for a pit stop, and
Pit
then
lane was closed, so
oh no!
Oh no!
that'll be why. So yeah, can't do that anymore.
Well, that answers that question. At least
there
we
we are.
know it's a nice and clean. We know where you are, the track position. If your car in front, pass.
Yeah, that's a strange one, of course, caught out by that and kind of forcing the hand here. Now, if you're Ian Harvey or Ben Hitchcock, you're excited that you're at the front of the field, obviously, but how worried are you, Paul, if you've got Dan Ferrier and Kieran Sharp, and also how tempting is it for Kieran Sharp to absolutely send it on this restart?
If I'm one of those two cars, at this moment in time, I reckon if I ferried around in the rear of my underwear, I would have enough bricks to build a small wall. Because I would be worried about being at the front of the grid. At this stage, the car, old tyres, not as fast as some of the faster cars behind, a track where danger is at every corner. Yeah, Ian Harvey, Ben Hitchcock. They're going to plummet like a stone or face the wrong direction very quick.
I was just waiting to say, Paul, cold tyres as well after this. Oof, this is
Ain't going to be fun.
Yeah, different. Anyway, 35 minutes gone in the race here. And to be honest with you, I get the feeling that this is not going to be the final time we see the safety car, Paul, as the lights are off and we're ready to go racing this lap.
Well, you know that famous saying in motor racing, David, safety cars breed safety cars, and this could well be the case if these two cars are a bit too feisty with the faster machines behind them. It could very easily define somebody's race at this point.
Certainly could. And just watching here again with Ian Harvey for BNAF Racing, if that's me, I am just having the race of my life and just absolutely sending it as the cars go in a double file here. But again, Kieran Sharp, my eyes are on him, and Simon Demore as well. This is going to get spicy very, very quickly. And let's not forget that old saying, Paul, yellows breed yellows. I think that could be very, very true here as we get ready to go on the restart.
Right, let's have a look. That is Dan Hanover that we spoke to earlier. Everybody's already getting a little bit overexcited, shall we say, as we're even before the green flag waves. Great start from Harvey at the front of the field, on the gas nice and early, builds himself a gap to those behind him. Dan Ferrier, former race leader, to the outside into T1, gets the job done on the brakes. Hitchcock does not have the confidence on the brake pedal, runs wide as well, takes one of his rivals with him, very quickly recovers that situation. Simon Demore finding room on the racetrack further down the running order. Demore needs to clear these cars as quickly as he possibly can. Kieran Sharp is to the outside in the danger zone, goes nice and wide, gives everybody enough breathing room, does not want to get involved in somebody else's accident as somebody's running deep and wide further down the running order. Ian Harvey, still our race leader. Dan Ferrier still in second position. This is Kieran Sharp again to the outside, aggressive on the brakes, too aggressive on the brakes, goes the long way around and over the gravel as well. So Sharp makes a mistake and plummets down the running order into 12th position. And that, David Christie, was much cleaner than I expected, to be perfectly frank. And Ian Harvey, come out of this one, still in the race lead.
He's away, is he? He just doesn't care at all. What a performance. That's exactly what we see. Oh, and Noah Downball has a huge moment there, going all the way down there into to 12th position, and that is a big hit for that car there. James Parker involved with Thomas Van Bommel, but there is Dan Ferrier. Again, I mean, Ian Harvey is absolutely away, but remember as well, Paul, that car's going to be super light on fuel, so he's going to have a lot of pace right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the balancing act, isn't it, between burning off the fuel and not having the grip from the tyres as well. But that's working at this moment in time for Ian Harvey. He's gambling, of course, that there'll be another safety car in the near future. We've seen there Simon Demore throws the car last minute down the inside. Ferrier recognises the threat, runs wide, does not expect to see Syandri come to the inside as well. And there we go, contact between the two of them. Dan Ferrier, former race leader, pole position man, dominating proceedings for the first half an hour, has been shuffled down. In fact, that was Gal, in fact, that went past in 3rd position, shuffled down into 4th place. This is Syandra that we're looking at in 5th position. Dan Ferrier just ahead of us. He fancies his chances as well. Ferrier has suddenly got a race on his hands.
Oh my god, that is the same Alex Gall that was down at the back of the grid after colliding with David Perel. Unbelievable comeback drive from Alex Gall. Shouldn't be surprised, obviously, to see him back up towards the pointy end of the grid, but this is not over because Gall is under intense pressure now from Dan Ferrier, Simon Demore. They are not letting this go right now. Every single man for himself right now. Do you know who's in the pound seats right now? Ian Harvey. He is laughing his way all the way to the bank right now. If there is another yellow flag, that changes everything on its head.
Yeah, it really does, but Harvey is in a difficult position where he knows those tyres are going to start giving up grip in the non-too-distant future, so he needs to make hay while the sun shines. Ferrier back up into 3rd position, Murray back down in a P4. We've not seen what's happened on the broadcast, but I think that potentially Dave Perel is out of the race as well. I don't see him on the timing screen unless he's swapped cars with a teammate.
He swapped with James Parker there in 9th position.
Ah, there we go. That's why I didn't see Parker earlier in the race. So Parker and the Dave Perel car, 9th position, out on track. But this fight continues. Dan Ferrier, race leader, former race leader, 3rd position. Simon de Murray in position 4. Hustling at the back of this one. Hitchcock doing a great job as well in 6th position, doing good work there, trying to keep attached to this fight. And it's 30 minutes gone, but the right team, that's the first lap of the race.
Yeah, this is high intensity stuff, and Dan Handover actually down there in 7th position despite being last on the grid, or second to last on that restart, so he is absolutely doing bits as we roll over into 40 minutes gone here. Lap number 28 of the race here, and a 2-hour race here for Coach Dave Academy. Ian Harvey in the lead, but Alex Gall hunting him down now. That gap just 1 second, and it's closing. Meanwhile, you've got Dan Handover trying to take that position from Hitchcock. They're going to be side by side on the run up to the next corner, which is going to be Remus here, and it looks like Dan Handover has the inside line, but is that Kieran Sharp trying to make up the inside as well? There's going to be contact surely between Kieran Sharp and Ben Hitchcock, but nope, they get away with it. And look at that, Gal right on the back of the race leader. This is it now. Gal takes the lead.
Yeah, big drama at the front of the field. Harvey lost a 2-second advantage, and now half a tenth in arrears to Alex Gall. So great driving from Alex Gall, recovering very nicely indeed to be our new race leader. This is a Coach Dave Academy replay. Let's have a look at exactly what happens. Harvey on the outside, Gall to the inside. Harvey recognises the fact that that is a super quick competitor. There's no point fighting that one too hard. The deal is already done, and Gall is our new race leader. Now Harvey still doing great work in 2nd position, closing it back down to a couple of tenths of a second, and that is Cy Andra coming down pit lane. So Andra decides it is time to make his stop, and I think as well we've got another car down pit lane that's just gone into the small screen, so I can't read it because my eyes aren't good enough, and that is Dave Perel excitedly talking to his audience.
It absolutely is, and David Perel can only watch on as James Parker takes behind the wheel of that one. But also, just noticed Alex Gall and Syandra into pit lane, but they were in pit lane with the yellow flag. I don't understand what's just happened. So Ian Harvey now back in the lead of the race.
I have a feeling that they're just playing. They know they've got, and I mean no disrespect to the other drivers in this event, but they know they've got a very nice pace advantage. What's the point dominating at the front of the field? Let's go take a stop and have ourselves a motor race. As Syandra actually flashed upon our screen is out and now back in again, so that's connection issues. I think they're just having some fun, want to make a challenge for themselves.
Yeah,
100%. Why not?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, 42 minutes gone in this race. We're nearly at halfway. It's just going to be a case of seeing what happens. The thing is with Gal and Andrew, like you said, I mean, they've got the pace to keep pushing.
Yeah, have a bit of fun, challenge yourself a little bit as Harvey continues swapping places with Dan Ferrier at the front of the field. Ferrier now back in the front of the race as we see Harvey jump down pit lane. So remember that Ian Harvey did not come into pit lane during the safety car period, so he's going to make it at racing speed, which will compromise the race of Ian Harvey. He's had his moment in the sun. He's acquitted himself very nicely indeed, thank you very much, at the front of the field, and now it is time to take that service, get some new boots, get some more fuel in the car, as Simon De Murray is our race leader. So what is happening at the front of this field, swapping positions like they're going out of fashion?
Yeah, that is brilliant, brilliant stuff, and this is huge battling right now. So Ian's into the pit lane, Simon De Murray trying to hold on from Dan's Ferrier. Dan's trying to go around the outside at Schlossgold and trying to hold on from that position. Kieran Sharp is trying to get himself back into contention as well. James Parker now up into 5th position, but Simon De Murray now 0.3 of a second. It's almost irrelevant, that gap right now, because he's not getting anywhere with Dan's Ferrier right on his tail just now. And again, it all comes down to strategy now. How is this race going to pan out? And if there is another yellow flag and another safety car just now, I think that's going to mess up a lot of strategies.
Yeah, it really is. These two swap positions over the last couple of laps. Ferrier had a turn in the lead oh so briefly until Simon De Murray took that position back again. Now, can De Murray hold on to this position? Can he start to gap Dan's Ferrier behind? This is going to be the critical thing. Ferrier is the man very firmly in the slipstream. He's got the advantage going down the start, back straight, into the Remus hairpin. But De Murray recognises the threat. He just spots his braking zone. Look at that man in 3rd position. That is Dan Handover. So Dan Handover, after the drama at the start of the race, missed the pit lane as it closed during the safety car period, shuffles up into 3rd position. Fantastic drive from Dan Handover. He needs to make another stop at some place. He's out of sync with these two leading cars, but let us take massive note. He's on the podium at this stage in the race and very firmly in the hunt for a good result. Sharp in position 4, just ahead of the newly installed into the car James Parker, doing great work in 5th position. Van Bommel running in 6th, and Denbol in 7th, ahead of the pit stopped Gal and Andra in 8th and 9th position. Keep your eye out for those two drivers. They are rapid as rapid comes. And David, what a performance from Daniel Handover to be 3rd position.
It really is, and the thing is as well, is what I love about that performance that he's put in is it just shows in these fun races, it's all about just keeping your head down. If you have a bit of a moment, you can recover it, not a problem whatsoever. We saw that last week as well with the GT3s, many of the cars coming from a lap or two down to get themselves right back into contention, but yeah, this is starting to stretch away again. And do you know what's really upsetting me is the fact that Alex Gall and Syandra up to 8th and 9th already having pitted again. As a very slow average sim racer, Paul, these two really annoy me. It's disgusting the pace that they've got, and they're having an absolute blast tonight.
Yeah, they're having a great time, but they're just toying with the rest of the field, aren't they? Taking pit stops at leisure and just want to keep themselves in the heart of some kind of fight out on the racetrack. And the great thing about this Coach Dave Academy 2 hours of Red Bull Ring is we've seen another position change. Thomas Van Bommel going side by side with Denbol, I think that is, the number 17 machine. The great thing about these kind of races, these fun races, they're open to anybody. There's somebody at your level to race. You've got absolute legends like Gal and Andra that are fast as fast can be, and then you've got more average drive, not average is the wrong word I'm looking for, but non-alien drivers, shall we say. So if you're watching this broadcast at home and you're thinking, I could do with a piece of this action, come and join us, get on track with us. I'm sure you'll find somebody to race with, and the name of the game's having fun, and that's often lost, I think, a little bit in sim racing, isn't it? As we get more and more professional, the fun aspect gets pushed to one side, and this is fun.
Well, I'm still waiting to see the Coach Dave Academy Wreckfest stream. It will happen. We will. Keep vouching for it. It's got to happen. But yeah, it's all about having these fun events as well as doing the great competitions that the likes of the SimGrids do. SimGrid, for instance, used to do their little Thursday night affairs where it was like these fun one night things, and I think that Coach Dave Academy is just loon. That is exactly how not to take that second corner there, and unfortunately, Remus gathers yet another victim there. But again, traction control kicking in on that LMP2 car, and it ends leaving him stranded as we see Alex Gall straight up around the outside and making that look very, very easy indeed.
And that's the beauty of getting a run off the previous corner. You get a run, you get the slipstream, you use the extended advantage that you've got. That pays you back all the way down the straightaway. We see there that Alex Gall basically got the deal done before we even hit the braking zone. That's the easiest overtake you could possibly imagine in this sort of scenario, as Simon de Moray now runs deep into the hairpin, locks the inside wheel. That opens the door. Dan Sferrier likes open doors. He will walk through open doors, and that is the race lead once again.
Dan Handover's seeing that open door and thinking he's just going to step right through it as well, because he's now just 1.5 seconds behind this little battle just now. And again with de Moray, I think he is enjoying this little battle with Dan Sferrier right now. Dan seems to be good at keeping his tyres on. A little bit of context though. Alex Gall and Sai Andra on that last lap were faster than the entire field by at least 0.4 of a second. The entire field. Calm yourselves down, guys. 7th and 8th position. They're on track by the end of this hour to be up into the top 3.
Yep, and 0.4 of a second, you might think, that's good, but it's not spectacular. On a track that's 4 kilometres just over in length and only 10 corners, that is night and day. 0.4 of a second at Spa-Francorchamps, good, not great. 0.4 of a second at Red Bull Ring is absolutely phenomenal. 7th and 8th are their reward, and they are very close indeed at this speed to making their way up into the top 6, which will become the top 5, top 4, top 3, top 2, and so on and so forth, as Simon de Moray decides, fancy a go in race lead if that's all right. Dan Sferrier thinks, I'm not too keen on giving you that position, but you've pretty much done the deal, so do I stay down the outside? I've got a good run down the straight. Do I permit to holding on to this position, or do I concede and live to fight another day? The number 12 takes the diplomatic approach and slips back into second.
Yeah, diplomatic approach seems to be the way forward for everyone right now, as Dan Handover is still having a look up the inside here. He's now a second away. An update on Alex Gall and Sai Andra. How do I even break this to you? How do I break the news to you that they were a second faster than everyone else in the field? The leaders, they were 2 seconds faster than the leader, and a second faster than second place. A second faster than everybody in the field. That is just ridiculous pace from Alex Gall and Sai Andra. I mean, what do? You can see there the purple lap times. In fact, we'll see here again as Alex Gall comes across the line. I guarantee it'll be another 119. Just how much of a 119 it's going to be. Oh, there we go. That's it. The dream is over. It's a 120 because he's caught up behind Noah Denball in that number 17 machine. I think he'll make easy work of this one, or at least try to make easy work, slipping over to the right hand side and then late on the brakes into turn number 2. Very, very late on the brakes and decides against it there.
Yeah, that one actually was almost a monumental accident. I think that Gall did not expect the earlier braking of the car ahead. So Gall now looks to the outside, coming down the hill into the right-hand hairpin, brakes on the rumble strip on the outside of the corner, gives plenty of room to the car on the inside, recognises there's danger there to be had. And actually, that kind of reticence to go for the move, that kind of safety-first approach has opened the door to Sai Andra behind. And Andra finds himself as the man on the attack now. So Dengball is looking probably in every single mirror and a few more besides, thinking, where are these two cars coming at me? He recognises the same livery but a different number. Will this onslaught never end? And these two, they're having fun, they're playing. They're not really, if they wanted to, they could have made that pass earlier, but hey, no point doing that one. Let's have a little bit of fun. But David, you've seen this many times before. While you're playing these little games, that's when a bit of danger creeps into it as well. And this could very quickly go wrong if they're not too careful.
Yeah, and every time it looks like it's going to happen, it somehow averts itself. And obviously we've got a race going on, but those liveries that they have got on are absolutely stunning from Sim.Inc. Satellite Racing. This is what I love about sim racing. It's a bit of a clatter there from Noah Denball. Puts Syandra to the back of the little pack there, but just going on about those liveries there, Paul, I love the fact that this is where sim racing is at, that these teams put such work into these works of art, and the inspiration and the design work that goes into these cars rivaling some real life design houses that are employed by the real life LMP2 teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some fantastic liveries on show, and they really look the part on racetrack and getting plenty of camera time as well as they're fighting tooth and nail. This is sixth position, the battle that we see unfolding in front of us, currently headed by Denball in sixth position. That is Gal in P7. Syandra, we see his car, David, you're more of an iRacing expert than my good self. We see his car flicking several times. That's a connection problem. How worried does he need to be about that one, or has he got a bit of safety net in terms of disconnect?
Well, he's fine in that one, so he won't notice. The only thing he'll notice is for him, the other cars disappear. So he doesn't notice himself disappearing. It'll be the other cars that flicker for him. Now, what you'll see on iRacing is that by default, you've got a little connection box. It's lovingly referred to as the black box. Is up at the top right, and that gives you all of your connection info. It gives you your server, the latency, packet loss, all that sort of good stuff is up there on the top right. Now, the fact that it is a temperamental thing, and the fact that the majority of the time his connection is stable, would lead me to possibly think he might be on a wireless connection, which can be a little bit temperamental at times. Not ideal if that is the case, because the way that it goes in and out, rather than being a constant issue, that leads me to believe that's what that is. But certainly it's calmed down an awful lot from earlier on. But it does have a certain amount of protection built in. The only issue is that iRacing is known for an issue called netcode, perhaps maybe more than some other sims, as we see Alex Gall making a move up the inside, and you can sure that Noah Denball is going to try and make him work again. The two of them now decide to make it 3 wide, Paul, and wow, that was a move and a half, and Alex Gall somehow looks like he might be a way to take the position from the pair of them.
Oh, 3 wide coming down into Remus, asking for trouble. The two cars that have been all over the back of Denball go side by side. Denball now has an opportunity, despite the fact that occasionally the car is racing against will be invisible, just to make your job that little bit easier, harder. And Alex Gall on the defensive. Denball looks to the outside now. He'll be wise, really, to back out of this one, see if he can follow these two cars through. They've got more pace than he does, and that is job done. Syandra is the man that leads that charge. Let's have a look at Dan Handover, that we're seeing number 15, the all-white machine, to the outside, gets the job done in the braking zone, and that is another very efficient overtaking manoeuvre. So Dan Handover's impressive drive continues in that number 15 machine. And David, I'm going to hand back over to you for a moment, as my headache/migraine continues to get worse. I'm going to go get some paracetamols. Back in a moment.
Oof, that is a very unpleasant update there. Paul had plenty of them in my time, and definitely hope that one clears up very, very quickly for you. So if you've just joined us, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Coach Dave Academy Monday night special here at the Red Bull Ring. It's the LMP2's here at Red Bull Ring. Simon Demore currently in the lead of the race from Dan Handover, with Dan Ferrier in third position, Kieran Sharp in fourth, James Parker down in fifth position. But it's Syandra and Alex Gall, the men on the move right now. They are absolutely blitzing the timing screens right now. Noah Denball down into eighth position. James Parker having a little bit of a moment there. It's then Saiduth Ramesh in 10th position, with Thomas Van den Bommel in 9th. Just Loon after an earlier spin down in 11th position. And James Parker off the track loses a couple of positions down into 8th position there. So that is going to be a huge moment for James Parker. I've got the feeling that he's ended up running wide. As very, very wide goes Dan Handover. That's almost certainly going to be a slow down penalty. And I'm wondering now if tyres are starting to be an issue here for these cars. So we'll keep an eye on that and try to figure out what on earth is happening with these cars just now. But Dan Handover just half a second behind your race leader Simon De Mori, and catching up at a rate of knots. That gap now 0.2 of a second. Here comes Dan Handover. I wonder if there's a little bit of fuel saving going on for Simon De Mori, because as they come out of Riemestein for the 41st time of asking here, that car's so close, but then so is Dan's Ferrier as well. We neared the hour mark, and I can imagine it's only going to be about another 5-10 minutes before we get our next batch of pit stops here. Dan Handover, of course, remember, wasn't able to get that free pit stop earlier, so he is out of sequence right now. He is going to be the first one that needs to pit. He pitted on lap 11. That was 11 laps behind everybody else right now, so he is going to be a little bit of a sitting duck when it comes to strategy. That will all likely sort itself out as the race goes on, and we'll get safety cars and yellow flags and all that sort of good stuff coming on to dictate the way that this race goes. But as we said, 59 minutes left in this race. 9 minutes gone, in this race. And again, pace-wise, Syandra and Alex Gall still just properly splitting that atom right now. 1:19.55 and a 1:19.21. And I heard a giggle, so I'm going to hope that, Paul, you're feeling a little bit better, my friend.
Hello, I had to go and talk to the toilet for a moment, but I returned to all the drama. What have I missed? I see that Dan Handover's up in second position, so that's a nice little drive that he's having so far.
Yeah, certainly is. Dan Handover up into second position there, but he's lost a bit of time there on Simon De Mori. He was just half a second behind, as we see what happened to James Parker. He had an off track, and it sounded a lot more dramatic than it was. A little bit of a wiggle, and that does suddenly get dramatic as we see lumps of tyre flying off that car, and he goes sideways at the exit of Schlossgold.
And that is so shocking as a driver, isn't it? Where you have a small moment, we've talked about this before, small moments can have massive impacts. You run a little bit wide, you keep the foot on the loud pedal because, hey, we're only going to touch the grass a little bit, no drama, and then snap, all of a sudden the car's facing the wrong direction. And that is a real frustrating moment for a driver. You'll be analysing that for the next few corners, thinking, should I have come off the throttle? Should I have been more cautious? But luckily for James Parker, he avoids making contact with any scenery, and they live to fight another day. There is David Perel in the top of the screen watching the progress of his teammates, watching progress of teammate James Parker, and just hoping to try and salvage a solid result from this.
He's having a wee chin wag, isn't he? He's just having a quick. I wonder if he's ordering a pizza. Actually, maybe it's about that time of night, isn't it, over in South Africa? So he's probably getting a little bit of a pepperoni pizza on the go just now. Paul, of course he's over in London, isn't he? We've got to ask the important questions, Paul. If it was you ordering the pizza for a takeaway tonight, what would you get put on it?
As a very wise man, I would have whatever my wife chooses, and I would be grateful for the instruction.
Is the correct answer. Well done. Yeah. How long did it take you to learn that answer, Paul? That is the correct answer.
Almost instantaneously. I learned very quickly the path of least resistance is the path that one must travel, and that served me very well indeed. Thank you very much. But Syandra, I won't call him Syandra. I need to stop doing that. Syandra is in 4th position now, and Alex Gall in 5th position. Remember, these guys have made an additional stop. They've been having fun on track rather than carving their way through the traffic, and 11 seconds to make up on sharp ahead. What's that? 6-7 laps, do you think? And then they're back in contention or getting close to contention?
Just, yeah, okay, I'm not even going to repeat what we just heard behind the scenes from our production team there from Mike Yao. He's on the phone, apparently, to Kelvin van der Linde discussing LMP2 cars. And of course, Van der Linde, no stranger to the machine. So I wonder if there's some top secret setup advice getting given away here.
Nice, like you do, of course. Just ring up a professional race driver as a professional race driver.
That's a flex and a half, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry guys. Let me just phone up Kelvin and just have a little chat with my good buddy.
Exactly, a different world these guys live in, but they're having a good result so far. Parker, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, that's how many laps each driver has taken in the car. An hour just turned. I reckon we'll see Dave Perel back behind the wheel before the checkered flag waves. Parker has done the most of the heavy lifting at this stage, and he's doing a good job. Up in 7th position, Van Bommel 30-something seconds in arrears behind. So let's take stock, David. 45 minutes gone. Just under an hour left on the clock. Dan Ferrier, our pole position man, the man that looked like he had everything under control at the start of the race, is suddenly dropping time quite significantly from our race leader. What's that all about? Has he just not got pace at this stage in the race? Is he conserving the car, expecting another yellow flag, or does Simon de Moray have the advantage?
Well, he's dropping about 0.2 of a second a lap. I think that is where Dan Ferrier is pace-wise just now. I wonder if he only took fuel on the last pit stop. I think that's what everyone did, because it was all about 24, 25, 26 seconds. So I think De Moray, Ferrier and Sharp have all just taken fuel at the last stop. And remember, Ferrier was off like a scalded rat in that first half hour of the race. So maybe he's already burnt up his tyres just now, and Simon de Moray able to eke his out a little more. Either way, it doesn't really matter at all, because this race is looking like it's already decided just now in the way of Sayandra and Alex Gall, with the fact that Alex Gall has just done fastest lap of the race with a 1:19.04. And what has happened to Dan Handover? Dan Handover showing as out. He's back going again, I think, here. In fact, no, the car's not moving at all, so it could be that Dan Handover is out of the race.
Oh, now that will be a crying shame. From disaster to victory to disaster once again. Dan Handover, remember, has been up and down this field like a yo-yo, was in a very strong position. So, yeah, that will be a real shame if we lose Handover. And, of course, that will only leave 12 cars left in this race with 55 minutes of racing action left to run. No doubt we'll hear from Dan. In fact, I see him in the commentary booth. Dan, what's happened? What's going on?
The silence, Paul says. He's obviously here, but he's not. That would make sense, actually, because if his internet connection's gone, that would explain why he's here, but he's not here. Oh, we've got a safety car, Paul. So an hour into the race, and we have got a safety car, and I'm going to believe, with the fact we've not got any issues on here, that it's going to be a competition caution. Yeah, that car's gone. It's going to go straight on here. And yeah, that car is. Oh, well, it's not. Yeah, that's a bit strange. And then he's just going to, I would imagine, just disappear here. That's a very strange one from Dan Handover. So we've got safety car deployed, but again, I would imagine that car is just going to blink, and you'll miss it here.
Yep, so with a safety car out on track, as we're watching a replay now of Handover just circulating around the Red Bull ring. Let's keep our eye out for anything untoward happening to that number 15. But with a safety car waved on track, this is a great opportunity for our drivers now to dive down pit lane. Anybody that's off strategy, this is your opportunity. If you're marginal on tyres, marginal on fuel, you've got the chance to get in there, get a full service in the car, and just concentrate on pushing for the rest of the lap. Handover, we're still watching circulating around the track, so this is the longest replay of nothing I've ever seen in my life. Let's have a look now as we head up in a T1. Will the car disappear? Will a mistake happen? No, so far so good for the number 15, so not quite sure what's happening to Dan at this stage. He's disappeared from our commentary booth, so yeah, my money would be on connection issues as far as lapped cars are allowed to unlap themselves by race control.
Yeah, so that means that Ben Hitchcock will be allowed to get back onto the lead lap there. He is the only car that is showing as a lap down. As I was panicking there, I thought I was having internet connectivity issues there, but I mean, this throws a whole myriad of questions up into the air. Also, keep an eye out for Syandra and Alex Gall. Their last pit stops that they did was 7.7 seconds and 8.2 seconds. They didn't take on anything. I wonder if they either got a drive-through or they're just doing this for an absolute laugh right now. It's impressive. As we see Ben Armstrong just absolutely flying around the outside there. Here we go then. Are we going to see cars into to pit lane here?
I think we'll see Andra and Gal come down pit lane, because as you say, the amount of pace they've got, it is just going to be walking away at the front of the field at this stage. So it makes sense for them to keep their race alive and keep their interest up to get down pit lane, and so does Simon Demore and Dan Sferrier and Kieran Sharp and Andra and Gal and Danebol, Parker, Van Bommel, Ramesh and Loon all jump down pit lane. Harvey, remember, and Hitchcock last time out stayed out under the competition caution. Will they be doing the same again? It looks very much that way. Track position has been preferenced than making the stop. And will we see Parker get out of the car and Dave Perel jump back in again? He'll have to cut his conversation short with Kevin van der Linde, because Sunshine Rover, you've got yourself some driving to be doing.
Yeah, I'm also just
there we go. Change driver.
There, yeah. So into the car then, and Dave Perel taking the final stint of the race here. You would imagine with an hour to go, we'll keep an eye on that one. Although, to be honest, he might actually jump out. Let's have a look then. The car's out and in front. What do we think we're going to see then from the final hour, as we see Syandra enter the lead of the race, as is Simon Demore.
Now that'll be interesting. Will Andra stay out? Will he try and start to make a gap to Simon Demore behind? Or is he going to jump down pit lane again on this lap? Or jump down pit lane, sorry, for the first time during this caution period on this lap. The safety car is not within shot at this moment in time. So where the safety car is he a little bit further down the road? Yes, he is. There's the Porsche. The lights are out. Oh, no, it's not. The lights are on.
Syandra's already pitted. He's done his third pit stop. No way.
So he's trying to lose this race and still can't. That's pace.
That is because Syandra, right? He the last pit stops that him and Alex Gall did, I remember just briefly saying they were about 8 seconds. So that's now changed to 22 seconds. And Alex Gall is obviously, he's had a pit stop as well, and he's still up in 4th place. So what on earth has happened to the rest of the cars, the likes of Dan Sferrier? Dan Sferrier obviously taking tyres and fuel as well. 50-second pit stop there. Simon Demore just with fuel again. He is really, really going to be dancing on bubblegum now. Syandra is on 22 seconds for a pit stop as well, so he's just taking fuel. Well, this is starting to get a bit interesting now.
It is indeed, and interestingly, Harvey and Hitchcock as well both decided this time track position is less valuable than getting down pit lane and getting some new boots on that car. So they will be geared up pretty much to see the race through to its conclusion, assuming, of course, don't have another caution within the next 50 minutes or so of track activity. So Syandra is our provisional race leader from Simon Demore in 2nd place. Van Bommel, good work during the pit sequence to move up onto the bottom step of the podium, but with Alex Gall just behind. How long that will last for is anybody's guess. And Dan Sferrier, a man who had this race to lose, is now in 5th position with arguably the 2 fastest cars in the competition ahead of him. So Ferrier, lots of work still to do if he wants to be in with the conversation for race victory. And David, lights are off on the safety car. This will be the final lap behind the Porsche, and then we'll go green and the race will be run for the final 48 minutes of competition.
Yeah, it is going to be brilliant, isn't it? I mean, 48 minutes left to go in this race. It's been up, it's been down, it's been round and around, and I just hope we can hear from Dan Handover and hear what on earth happened. I think it's fairly safe to say it's just been an internet connection issue with them, and we'll keep an eye. Oh, right, okay, so I've just been on to our production chat, and F's for Dan's internet router. It's looks like connection issue for him. Again, as I stumble, trying not to repeat the words that he used in a WhatsApp message.
Which would have been something along the lines of, "Oh golly gosh, one is rather disappointed."
That's
Why not?
that's pretty much word for word what he said here.
I'm sidekick. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. If you're just joining us to the Coach Dave Academy, 2 hours of the Red Bull Ring. We've had over 1 hour and 12 minutes of competition take place. This is yet another competition caution to mix up the field. And Syandra, the man with pace to spare, is our race leader. We're following the Porsche safety car around the final portion of the lap. That car will dive down pit lane in just a couple of corners time. The green flag will wave and it'll be up to Syandra to get the cars over the line and build himself a gap to Simon Demori behind the number 21 machine, hungry to get that track position because he knows he does not have the ultimate pace in that car. Track position is what's going to be the differentiator between first, second, or all the way down to the back of the grid. Alex Gal is third on track, but it will be third for Van Bommel. In fact, Gal drops back, or should drop back, into fourth position. We're heading to the final corner now. The pace will be set by Syandra in that leading machine. He will accelerate when he sees fit, which is now somebody pirouettes in the background on acceleration. That's the number 17. Goes to see the barrier. Safety cars breed safety cars. We've said it before, a mistake before we even get back underway again. And we see someone dive to the inside as well. That forces Gal out onto the runoff strip. That's going to compromise him coming down this long straight into the ever dangerous Remus corner, 4 wide almost, as we head into the right-hand hairpin. Contact again. 1, 2, 3 contact cars every which way but loose. Will he connect into the hairpin? Yes, he does. 4 cars involved in that drama. We had a clean race up to this time, but now everybody's taking stupid pills, and look at what the end result is.
That was tasty. I'll be honest, that's exactly what I thought the first restart was going to be like. Noah Denball, I mean, that is some boneheaded move. So, oh dear. Right, okay, I'm just hearing from race control that it might be another safety car, and at which point it's going to be a single file restart to avoid all that. Yeah, like that is a very, very embarrassed Noah Denball after that one. What can you possibly say? And yeah, confirmation, another safety car.
Yeah,
also, sorry, I was just going to say, Paul, I mean, Thomas Van Bommel getting up in the 4th place on that restart, and yeah, this was horrific. Oh, it was a little hip check, actually, from the 57, so it was Thomas Van Bommel that nudged into the 12 of Dance Ferrier, and Dance Ferrier into the pits.
Yeah, Ferrier doing a MotoGP move. We saw that a couple of seasons ago where Valentino Rossi was more than a little bit lucky not to get taken out of that exact corner. And Ferrier, unfortunately, looks like he may well be out of this competition. And Ferrier, very, very much the innocent party in that one. 1 or 2 pieces of contact, a lot of damage. In fact, Ferrier still in, but getting that quick repair that you say, and no doubt filling up with juice and tyres. He's still in contention. He's still in 12th position, and we've seen plenty of drama unfold. But this is exactly what can happen in these sorts of events. The cars are so close, the track is so narrow and so tight, you've got to make the move. But one small miscalculation, or 3 or 4 or 7 small miscalculations we saw last time around, and hey ho, there you go. You get yourself plenty of drama.
Well, he's still in the pits just now, and it would have been an instant repair that he got there. So I am a little bit concerned that he is perhaps out of the race here.
So it's all the swear words that he knows to himself.
Well, it could be. He could be getting towed, so that might explain it. But the fact that he's still in the pits just now, or still showing his pits, given that Michael Hamlet has been in for a 53-minute pit stop according to the timing screens, it does make me a little bit concerned.
Yeah, that will be a shame, actually, because Ferrier's been very much at the heart of the entertainment during this race. Pole position, early race leader, shuffled back due to pit stop cycles, safety cars at inopportune times, and looking forward to seeing what Ferrier could have done from what was, at the time, 5th position on the restart. But that 5th place now, look at that. Ian Harvey on the same strategy as everybody else. So Harvey, we mentioned at the start of the last safety car that Harvey elected to come down pit lane rather than do what he'd done previously and stay out and take track position. And that has worked out gloriously for Harvey. 5th position on the same strategy as everybody else, full of juice and with some fresh boots. Happy days.
Ooh, that's exactly it. And into the pit lane then, Alex Gall goes in, Ian Harvey, Ben Hitchcock, they're all going in. Might as well mix things up, get as much as you can, get fuel, get new tyres, whatever, and just get going with it. I'd probably fill up just with fuel, but Paul, I mean, why not roll the dice? Why not do something a little bit different?
Absolutely, and Harvey, just as I was saying, happy days, you're in a great position, dives down pit lane and drops to 10th. So that just shows what I know. And that's why I talk about it rather than do it, ladies and gentlemen, because I know nothing. As Gal is shuffling his way up the timing screen, just sorting itself out a little bit. But what we can say is Andra. God, stop saying Andre, man. What's wrong with you? Andra is our race leader from Simon de Moray and Loon. Doing a great job to get the purple machine, the rather colourful purple machine, the number 4, up into 3rd place. That's the highest we've seen him all race.
Brilliant stuff. And again, it just shows how important it is to just kind of keep in at it, keep going at it. And I've got to be honest, I do think that is... oh no, Dan Ferrier back out of pit lane. So Dan Ferrier still in the race, and he won't be able to get himself on lap now because the safety car lights are off and we get ready to go racing again. Yeah,
that's a shame for Ferrier that the safety car lights have come off, and he will be the only car outside of the lead lap. But again, we've seen this so many times in this event. Stay in contention. Like an oval race over in the United States, the 95% of it is just setting you up for the final 5%. And if Ferrier can sniff around at the rear of this field, stay close, another safety car, retake that lost lap, get down pit lane, stay on the same strategy as everybody else, and all of a sudden you're very, very much in the fight. So all is not lost for Dan Ferrier. We know he's fast, we know he's composed, we know he's a good driver, and I'm looking forward to see how his progress goes over the course of the next 40 minutes or so as the safety car lights, David, did you say, are off. And Sayandra, you're going to walk away from this one, or is De Moray going to be more than keen to get past?
I think he's going to be looking to have a little bit of a battle, isn't he? He enjoys having a bit of fun here. And now there we go. So we see round the outside. So Dan Ferrier is allowed to unlap himself, and he's now shown as just a lap and a half down. So he can still catch his way to the back of the pack, but it's not a lot of time to get going.
Yeah, at least he's back on the same lap as the race leaders. It's going to be a struggle to join the back of this train, but he is very, very much still in contention. So here we go, the safety car. Goodbye to you. See you again shortly, I am absolutely sure, as Cy Andra leads the field up the start-finish straight. He's looking to the timing gantry whenever he sees fit to go, which is now. He can go. Simon de Moray will try and go with him as well. Good start from both of our 2 race leaders. Loon has been left in the open a little bit as we see Noah Denbol round the outside, making another restart mistake, jumps over the curb on the exit of the corner, tries hard to defend to Dave Perel, but Perel squeezes the number 14 through that ever inviting gap. That's Alex Gall looking to the outside. This is Simon de Moray in second position, a little bit, more contact in Remus. That might have been Perel, possibly. No, it's not. It's the number 28 that goes for a left, goes for a right, goes for a kiss of the barriers. The 28 recovers the car, does not face the wrong direction. The safety car will not be needed, I don't think, as Kieran Sharp moves up into third position. Perel holds on to that position 5, and here is the number 14 of Dave Perel just behind Alex Gall. The man with more pace than you can shake a stick at is all over the rear, and we've seen this one before.
Yeah, we certainly have, but it didn't end too well last time, so Dave Perel is not going to be wanting to let that car get in front of him just now. But again, little battles breaking out all the way through, although your race leader Sayandra just 0.3 of a second. Now that was nearly a second as we headed in to the start of this lap here. As who's that in front? That is Just Loon. Wait a minute, how the blooming heck has Just Loon got up into 4th place? What is that all about? Just Loon was about 11th place for the majority of this race after an early spin. He gets going again, and that is a slow down penalty then for Just Loon, and that means that Alex Gall has a little look up there as well, and we've got a move for the lead up the top as well, and that is going to be side by side. Simon Tamori into the lead of the race from Syandra. You get the feeling that Syandra and Alex Gall are teasing the entire field right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But Simon Demora, that's exactly what he needed to do. Get track position and then defend for all you are worth. He knows he does not have the pace in the car to run with Syandra, so it's all about track position as Dave Perel now again under pressure goes to covers the inside line, but that is going to compromise him through the corner. We're going to see a cutback from the 64-hour way to try and get to the inside. No, we are not. That's that Noah Dainball, the man that caused all of the dramas on the last restart, still holding on to the car in 9th position. Ben Hitchcock just ahead of him. Dave Perel 4th place. Alex Gall just behind in position 5, but this has got the air of the inevitable about it. It's Thomas Van Borrell goes to see the barriers, has a nice time off track. That will be a momentary excursion though, and Van Bommel gets back out on the racetrack once again. Pit lane for Dan Ferrier, not quite sure what is happening there, but Ferrier's day is going from bad to worse as Perel now under pressure runs deep into the corner, and Gall, David, is all over the back of that Dallara LMP2.
He's bump drafting him. He's bump drafting an LMP2. That's what's going on. Alex Gall behind David Perel didn't do it to get the toe there. He was using it to push David up the road so the two of them could fight this race together here. Look at the way, there's no way that this isn't playing, because at the end of the day, I mean, up the inside goes Gall. I wondered if Gall was actually deliberately trying to move off there. And again, you see how David gets the better run out of the corner there. It's almost like Alex Gall is waiting for David to catch up, and there goes Just Loon sideways at the exit of the corner there, stranded in the midway of the track there. And yeah, unfortunately, that's another unforced error there for just proving exactly how difficult these cars, Paul, are to handle all by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a typical move that we've seen in an LMP2 car. The rear end just steps too far out, jumps on the middle pedal to try and stop the car, but he'll need some new boots on that one. That will not be a fun experience for Just Loon in 9th position. The car will be like driving on 50 pence pieces or whatever other funny shaped coins you have, depending on what country that you live in. And Just Loon, no doubt, will be coming down pit lane as Noah does as well. So Noah Denball is down pit lane as well. And Dan Ferrier still out on track in 12th position, but now drops a lap behind again. We saw him in pit lane earlier on, not quite sure what that is all about. As Kieran Sharp in 3rd position is interested in making his way further up the field, and he needs to do that one because Alex Gall is very close company in P4 behind.
What a race. This is certainly it's given us everything, because we've had loads of drama, we've had loads of incidents, but for the most part, I mean, there's been some exceptional talent on display tonight, and this is what I love about these so-called fun community night events, is the fact that you think they're going to be an absolute disaster on a play, and they're not. They actually give you some of the best racing. I mean, honestly, like last week, that finish with the GT3s, I'll say hands down that is one of the best finishes. Look, there you go, Alex Gall, little bump draft to Kieran Sharp there, right onto the back of Syandra. I'm a little bit speechless, because I saw it in the Daytona 24 where teams were bump drafting each other, but I never thought it was as easy in an LMP2 car as it seemingly is with these things. Oh, that's maybe not a bump draft, that's maybe just more of a Hulk smash from Alex Gall there.
Yeah, that was very, very close indeed, but that would annoy me to high heaven if somebody was bump drafting the rear of my car. That would really irritate me, and maybe that's part of the tactic, actually. Just have a bit of fun playing with the opposition, just winding them up, get them to make their own mistakes so you can just sail on by and take that position. As we're looking now, that's Sharp down the inside, so Syandra has dropped down into 3rd position. Great move from Kieran Sharp to take that place, and I suspect Syandra and Alex Gall just want to be together on track and squabbling with each other, and pretty confident that they can make their way past Demore and Sharp at will later on in the race. So, battle on.
Syandra literally just gave that position to Kieran Sharp. There's no two ways about it, and I would imagine that it's so that Alex Gall can get behind Andra, give him a bump draft. Although Andra, this is, and do you know what it reminds me of? I'm not the greatest fan of tennis, but if you the seniors tennis, the men's senior, and the sort of exhibition style entertainment matches that they put on, it just reminds me of that. They're just out having a laugh, having a race, as we see Alex Gall around the outside of Syandra, letting everyone through here. And well, this is starting to get a little bit dicey now, as Kieran Sharp, Simon Demore and Alex Gall all on the same bit. I thought for a minute there he was thinking about making that 3 wide there.
Absolutely. While they're messing around, Dave Perel has come steaming up the inside and taken that position away. So Perel moves up in a 4th position. Simon Demore, currently our race leader. This is Kieran Sharp on the inside, so he's got the right part of the racetrack, but does he have enough pace to resist Alex Gall? Gall decides very brightly as the car's pulled off the side of the road not to fight that one too hard. Perel trying to buy in now, but look at that. Gall can turn the car on a sixpence, gets it up the inside. Lovely amount of grip on the front end of that Dallara, and that is track position, and that is an overtaking manoeuvre. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you go and do motor racing. Alex Gall set that one up 2 corners before, and that was a beautiful pass. But look at this. This is Dave Perel saying, you guys mess about, I'm having that one, thank you. I will go up the inside. I'm taking that one firmly with both hands. And Dave Perel takes 4th position for his troubles.
Absolute madness. As look at this, Alex Gall right on the back of Simon Demore, bump drafting him up the road. And you said that you would be really annoyed. I can think of something even more annoying than being bump drafted up the road. That's somebody flashing their lights at you and bump drafting you up the road. That would just send me over the edge on this one. And again, you can just see the superior pace from Alex Gall. Tell me that's not happened. Please tell me that he has not just gone round. You're kidding me. There is no way, Paul. He has just pulled that off. Around the outside of Schlossgold to get to the inside of the next corner. That's ridiculous. That is just downright disrespectful right there from Alex Gall. I mean, sort yourself out, lad. That is... Oh my god, I've never seen that much pace. It's brilliant to watch.
Yeah, it really is sensational to watch. It just shows how well tuned that car is as well. Really, Alex Gall has got everything underneath him that he needs, as Kieran Sharp 2nd position now. So Simon Demore dropping down into 3rd. Dave Perel starting to buy into this fight as well, as they will see Demore looks to the inside, gets the car stopped on the brakes, runs very deep into the corner. That will suggest a 3 wide move down the straight. So here we go. Kieran Sharp has track position, has the inside line. Dave Perel trying to buy in there as well, looking one way, look at the other. Perel to the outside, Sharp to the inside. Can they get it done on the brakes? Perel looks for the cutback, which he just about manages, but runs out of road, runs out of space to use that advantage. Dave Perel enjoyed that one very much, thanking you kindly. But Kieran Sharp is in 2nd position. Dave Perel is in 3rd position, and Simon Demore now tries to recover very late on the inside of the hairpin. Contact the rear quarter, and Dave Perel spins the car around. Perel facing the wrong direction, gonna let the rest of the traffic through, wants a safe rejoin, and there we go. Dave Perel had a great bit of racing, but one small incident not dissimilar to the one that Dave Perel caused earlier in the race, and that number 14 is now plummeting down the running order into, where is he on the list? 7th, but I think it's a little bit lower than that.
I'm just bringing out my dictionary here. IJK Karma. There we go. Right. That's exactly what's happened there. Just another small note there now. Our broadcast producer, Mike Yao, brought up a fantastic little stat there, and I don't know if you saw it there, Paul. So in iRacing, the way that drivers are grouped together is on a thing called their iRating. It's basically like their skill level, and it goes all the way from 0 all the way up to like 10,000. And the blue is basically means that your license class as well. Most drivers tend to fall in between 1 and 3,000 iRating. Alex Gall has an iRating of 7,000. Syandra has 6.2k. Again, you can see for yourself the difference in that compared to everybody else. Everybody else on there. That means that they are faster. I would say probably, and again, this is just me picking out of thin air here, they're probably in the top 2 to 3% of iRating skill level on this racing platform. That is outrageous levels of talent there.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. Great talent, and it shows as well that they're clean, consistent, and regular racers on the iRacing platform. So, and they're showing that today. They're showing monumental skill and performance compared to the rest of the field that, let's be frank, they're not exactly slow coaches, the rest of the drivers as well. So to be dominated to the level they are, even if their track position doesn't reflect that at this stage in proceedings, is a really, really impressive run. And while we're on the subject, we've got less than half an hour to go, and Alex Gal is our race leader, the number 64, currently leading by 3 seconds from Kieran Sharp and Simon de Moray in third position. Andra, position 4 from Ian Harvey in fifth place. Harvey having another good run in this race, having been up and down the order depending on how the safety cars and pit stops have fallen. From Hitchcock in sixth place. Dave Perel, that we saw facing the wrong direction, has dropped all the way down in a seventh place, but expect Perel to be able to recover some of that lost time as the race progresses. And of course, the spectre of an ever-looming safety car is always high on the agenda in the final 25 minutes of this race. Loon in 8th position from Van Bommel in position 9th. Dengball in 10th place, having been the causer of drama not too long ago, and Dan Sferrier just about holding on a lap in arrears, position 11th, with Ramesh, the last of our running drivers, in 12th place. So 12 cars left from the 17 that started this race. We've had drama, we've had overtakes, we've had skill, we've had outrageous speed, we've had pretty much everything one could expect, David, at this point.
Oh, 100%. It's been fantastic to watch, and we've been treated to thrills, to drama, to pure skill. It's just had everything you could possibly want from a race here, and still can't believe Alex Gal 4 seconds now off into the lead. I can't see any more safety cars. I think that I hope that there's no more safety cars, because it'd be good to get a solid batch of or a solid stint of green flag running towards the end of this race. And quite honestly, I'd like to see how much of a gap that Alex Gal can get over the rest of the field here.
What about a safety car in the last 5 laps and then only letting half the field unlap themselves? That's an option.
I think that's a completely professional option, and a completely sound ability for you to be able to do it.
Is that what we've done before?
I don't think so. I can't. Nothing's springing to mind.
I'm seeing absolutely nothing on the internet about it, so I'm sure it's not.
No.
And I think if it did happen, then everybody would be really calm about it and not go absolutely mental and really annoy me and spoil all of my internet reading. I'm sure they wouldn't. I'm sure they'd be very, very reasonable about it.
I just love the thought of you waking up on a Monday morning and going, I can't be bothered with this.
If it happened, I'm absolutely sure people wouldn't cling on to it and keep bringing it up every single time, months after it happened. Let it go, people. Let it go. Get a life.
Actually, if I can very briefly soapbox for a minute, I would please, and this is not just for Formula One, this is for sim racing, with the absolute nonsense that kicked off over the weekend about Toe Outgate and the personal attacks on Jardier and all that sort of stuff. And I look to everyone and I'm like, you know, we all get brought together by a love of both sim racing and real life racing. It's like, just behave yourselves, just calm yourself down and just be nice. Don't go out your way to prove a point at the sake of being bad words.
I'm going to go one further than that, David. I'm going to take off the hat of any company that I work for or represent, and this is Paul Jeffrey's opinion only, not a professional one. Get a life, people. It's a game. Have fun.
Paul, what have you done?
Fun.
You've just called it a game. You've just, that's it. Your Twitter is now dead.
That's me done. Yeah, that's me cancelled. Sorry. Yeah, it's not a game. It's a sim. But still, it's fun. Remember, it's fun. If you don't I have a analogy I use, and forgive me if I've told you this before, but people get beef about things and then go on about it all the time. I really, really don't like turnip. So I don't go to a farmer's market, stand next to a turnip seller and go, that's crap. That's crap. I ignore it. I walk away from turnip and enjoy not engaging with it. So if there's something that you don't like, go away. Do something you do like. Don't get et up about it. Don't stand there and continually bring it up. Have fun. Life is short, and when it's over, it's done. So enjoy it. Anyway, sorry.
What is wrong with you? How can you not enjoy turnip? Turnip's lovely.
No, turnip's awful, man. Although actually, put in some mashed potatoes.
Yeah. See,
put in some mashed potato, and that's not so bad.
You see, you're a turncoat now. You're just not loyal.
Covering all bases, man.
Yeah.
If you mix it with something that takes all the taste away.
Talking about turnips.
I have no idea. These things happen when you feel as rough as I do.
Oh, dear me. Talking of which, we have to say, right, obviously you were doing Le Mans Virtual and we were working together a little bit there. We have to address, because you brought up beef as well. What is all this about everybody likes a bit of Yorkshire beef?
It's a fine, tasty meat. A succulent meat, some might say.
Is it nutritious, though?
And delicious. Cheerio, so good to eat.
Right, we've still got a race, apparently.
Yeah, and there's 1 hour and 38 minutes on the clock. Let's get back to a bit of racing. And Alex Gall has not extended the gap as much as we predicted. 5 seconds. So that bit of banter has bought him 0.6 of a second, which is, in the time that we can talk garbage about weird and wonderful things, Alex Gall can find 0.6 of seconds over his rivals. Not bad. Ooh, hello, Van Bommel. Van Bommel goes for a pit stop pants. That was very sideways through T1.
That was Van Bommel had a bobble.
Hey!
I've been waiting all race, actually. No, I'm not going to lie. It actually took me 45 minutes to think of that one, and then I forgot it. Oh no, what's happened to David? No, there's a replay involving him and a car glitching out. Oh wait, is that Simon Tamori in front of him? That is. Oh, that's from earlier. That's when he got... Well, I mean, the thing is, you can't even say anything about that, because it's almost a carbon copy of what he did to... What's that, Alex Gall?
Yeah, exactly. I think when Pirel was the instigator, I think he kind of got the car locked up and sideways, where that was a bit more of a dive bomb from Demori. And this is Cy Andra. So what we're looking at here, this is the number 65 car coming through the hairpin at the top of the hill. Gets a good run on the 21 ahead, but I'm not seeing any dramas yet.
I think it would have registered him as off track on the entry to that corner there. So basically what happens is, and I've used the software many times that our broadcast director does, it's a brilliant little bit of software, and it basically tells you all of the incidents that come up, and you can just double click it and it brings it up in a nice fancy replay like this. So again, where David Pirel's wheels drift off and it says the car has gone off track. Now that could be the car has launched itself into a barrier, or it's just that the car has gone very slightly off track. It doesn't tell you exactly what has happened there. It just said that the car is off track. So it's a little bit of a broadcast director's lottery here, as we see Syandra again try to take the inside line again. I think he might have... I know he's drifted out this time, so that was a great little fight there with Simon Tamori, and the two of them coming out of that second corner there, out of Remus on the drag race down towards Schlossgold here. This has just been going on, you know, so often through the race, but he finally gets it done. So Syandra then up into third position. Kieran Sharp, though, is going to be very, very happy with that as well. And what's happened to Alex Gall? Because he's starting to lose quite a bit of time now to Kieran Sharp there. He was shown as off track very briefly. I wonder if he just maybe went a little bit wide up into Remus.
Maybe so. I mean, we're getting to that point in the race as well where the tyres will start to be getting a little bit worn. It's been a while since we had our last cycle of pit stops, so the balance of these cars will change over the course of the race. The conditions of the racetrack will change. A bit of tiredness will creep in as well. I mean, 2 hours is not a huge amount of time, but it's still a fair bit behind the virtual steering wheel staring at a screen. So these kind of elements all come into play over the course of the race, and I'm sure Alex Gall, a driver of his talent and experience, as we saw his iRating earlier on. It's not going to let that really impact him. But again, all these little variables can come together, and we've seen it so many times today. Red Bull Ring, the kind of track where the smallest of small mistakes can have huge consequences. You might not be going to visit the barriers, but a little flick of opposite lock, a little bit too much oversteer, and that can cost you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths of a second on the following straight, and that could very much be where we're seeing some of this time lost. But I will say, David, I want to cycle back to the racing that we've seen so far today. I always like to give credit where credit's due to our drivers. We've seen some drama, we've had some laughs, we've seen some contact, but overall the respect and the quality of racecraft from these drivers has been fabulous to see.
It's been absolutely fantastic, and I've got to say that again, this is every single iRacing event that we've seen. The level of showmanship and the level of respect between the drivers is second to none. Maybe it is the fact that it is a community event and that it's not a championship, so there's nothing really to win other than a little bit of pride and a little bit of bragging rights. But again, it's, even I think back to Alex Gall and bump drafting David Perel up the back straight there. You could see that it's just taken as a little bit of lightheartedness, which is exactly what this race is intended to be. And 18 minutes left to go in the race. It's been really enjoyable to watch, and I really do hope that everyone that's taken part tonight has had an absolute blast of a time.
Yeah, we certainly had a blast up here in the comms box. Everybody watching at home on YouTube, hello to you. Thank you for sticking with us and some of the weird and wonderful things that David Christie, myself, Paul Jeffrey have strayed into over the course of the last hour and 43 minutes and change. It's great to have you with us, and do give us a like and a subscribe on the channel, because there's plenty of goodies coming on a near daily basis. So do stick around in future to see what we've got going on here at Coach Dave Academy and the SimGrid as well. It's great to have you with us on this journey. So lap 70, we've done 70 laps, can you believe it? We've got an hour and 43 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock of this 2-hour race. Alex Gall now 7.4 seconds, so he's found a bit of speed in that car at the front of the field. Sai Andra in 5th position has got Penny and Harvey ahead. Yes, it is fighting for position. So Harvey having a very, very solid end to his race. 4th at the moment. I fear that will soon become 5th position if Sai Andra has anything that he can do about it, which I'm sure he does. The Dallara P217 LMP2 car, great in the corners. He's got a great amount of turn at the front of the car as well. That car, both of these two cars of Gall and Andra, are absolutely singing. It wants to go wherever they place it. There we go, maximum attack, balls to the wall, around the outside. Trust that the car behind is going to give you space, which it does, and that is a very nice overtaking manoeuvre indeed.
Yep, great job as Kieran Sharp comes into pit lane from 2nd place then, so obviously didn't have enough fuel to go to the end there. And just checking where Kieran Sharp's last pit stop was before that, well, that's only his 3rd stop, so Just Luna's going to get caught out by that as well. So is Simon De More. I would imagine he'll have to come into the pits very, very soon. So the last pit stop time, just have a look here. Kieran Sharp, wait, what? Kieran Sharp's pit stop time was 7.12 seconds. So has he had a drive-through? As we've got a yellow flag. So we've got a yellow flag. And that means that Thomas van Bommel is going to get back out onto the lead lap, and so is Saiduth Ramesh. So, okay, this changes things up very, very slightly as we essentially get a free pit stop for the final bit of the race. Everyone has to go into the pits.
So to quote everybody's favourite Christmas movie, yippee-ki-yay! Safety car has been deployed with 15 minutes left on the clock, and now we have got a race on our hands. This is going to be absolutely sensational. Everybody that's still running will be able to get on the lead lap. Everybody that's still running will be able to get into the train of cars that are fighting for position. So, this could be a bit of drama, David Christie.
It certainly could. And I mean, yeah, that's it's going to frustrate Alex Gall no ends, but at the end of the day, it's a fun event, and I can imagine that race control. The thing is, I know that Michael Hamlet has got his finger on the pulse of that safety car, and I'm pretty sure that Michael Massey Hamlet is not wanting the leader to win by 10 seconds. So I'm presuming it's an entertainment call. And I think, as our fearless leader here at the SimGrids and on behalf of Coach Dave Academy, we just have to trust his judgment on this one.
I think it's fantastic news. It's just what we want to spice things up coming in to the final few minutes of this race now. Who's going to dive down pit lane? Who's going to elect? I'm going to ask you that again as the resident iRacing expert compared to myself on this one. How much of an advantage is a fresh set of boots in this scenario? Is it worth giving up a top, let's say, for argument's sake, a top 4 position to get fresh tyres on, shuffle down into the back of the train, but have brand spanking new tyres for the last, 10 minutes of the race?
Sorry, I'm still laughing at you calling me an iRacing expert here, but yes, I'll always go for fresh tyres if you've got the opportunity, because you might as well. Everybody else is going to be on the same issue as you. Obviously, you've got about a lap or two to you have to warm the tyres up, but so does everybody else. The other thing with that is, do you go to the pits? If you've got the fuel to stay out, then stay out. You're not really going to want to take a longer pit stop than you absolutely have to with 10 minutes left to go. I can't say. The thing is that I see nobody, and I mean nobody in this field that has the pace of Gal and Syandra. So yes, you might be able to get a couple of positions, and look, it looks like Just Loon, the only driver in. So likely all of the cars here fueled, ready to go to the end. I think this could be a very, very short safety car. Very likely to lead to yet another one, because I think that with 10 minutes left to go, they're going to be a little bit overly eager to get going here.
That's an incredible amount of words to not answer the question.
No. It would make sense, yes, always to get new tyres, but with only 10 minutes left to go, I can't see anybody taking tyres. If anybody did come into the pit lane, it would be for fuel only.
Yep, absolutely. So here we go then, 48 minutes, 54 seconds on the clock. The final 10 minutes are almost here. Ladies and gentlemen at home, if you're new to motor racing or new to the world of virtual racing, check out the lights on the top of that Porsche. When they go out, that will signify that the car is coming in at the end of that lap. So we're definitely going to complete this lap. I dare say they will go out now. Thank you very much. Perfect timing. So the safety car will be in this lap. That will give us just a smidgen under 10 minutes of racing action to go. Everybody's on low fuel, everybody's on relatively second-hand tyres, and everybody has pretty much one final really good chance to make up positions on track. David, this is going to be disaster. I can feel.
There's no other word. There is no other word for that. Alex Gall, I'm just having a look here. Alex Gall on that back straight there looked like he was trying to cuddle the safety car there. He was right up beside it, maybe noticing Michael Hamlet behind the wheel of the safety car, wanting to get a little bit of a selfie, get the Instagram game going on strong there. But SimInc Satellite Racing, they're looking very, very strong for this restart. However, do not look past Simon Demore. He will 100% send that up on the inside. Dan Ferrier also is now somehow back in this as well. He's down in 9th position. Could you imagine if he gets himself back up into contention? 10 minutes left to go. My bold prediction, this is not the last safety car.
I think you might well be right. So Alex Gall now, the second he gets onto the apex of the final corner, will hit the loud pedal to try and make a gap. Simon Demore be incredibly keen to leverage the slipstream on this lap to make his way past, but Syandra decides he wants a piece of the action as well. There is Dave Perel showing his nose to the inside, down in 5th position. Harvey defending in position 4. There's a car 14 facing the wrong direction in T1, so the drama's happened almost immediately. As we said, Dan Ferrier now going side by side for the run down into the Remus hairpin. Ferrier, contact between the two of them as well, but they just about escape any kind of real significant drama. Gal is still our race leader. Simon De Mori is dropping back in second position. Syandra is the man that fancies his chances. You can see it in the picture. In picture, there is Dan Sferrier one way and then the other up to fifth position. Can that become another place higher as they go too wide? Meanwhile, in the main picture, Syandra gets into second position. So Simon De Mori has not had the lap that he wanted to from the safety car restart, and Ian Harvey is in free air in fourth position, thanking his lucky stars that he can romp home into what would be a great finish if he can make it all the way to the flag in the next few minutes.
I mean, Syandra right the outside of Schloss Gold again for those Simink racing cars. A ridiculous move on the end of Simon De Mori is going to go backwards. Dan Sferrier, though, up to fifth position. Nice. That is a stunner of a restart for him. He is doing amazing bits, getting up there into to fifth position. Ian Harvey, I mean, we've always been surprised when he's been up at the front of the grid here, but fourth place, that is a ridiculously good result here. This is going to be Ben Hitchcock and David Perel up on the inside into turn one there. David Perel a little bit late on the brakes there. Where's Ben supposed to go? That's the issue, is David Perel again goes sideways into the second corner there, and just has to dump that car down and gets going again there. Racing instant 100% on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, opening lap hijinks, and we're looking now. This is another shot. This is Kieran Sharp, the number 5 machine that we're looking at one. So we see Perel go wide. We see oh dear, Sharp just trying to go around the outside, stay out of trouble, not get himself involved, and unfortunately catches the rear of Hitchcock's machine and spins him around as well. So Hitchcock, Perel and Sharp dropping down the running order. Juice Loon has been here, there and everywhere, and unfortunately goes a little bit excitable once again, but is still in a very commendable 7th position. So Juice Loon having himself a solid result despite one or two trials and tribulations. But this will shock precisely nobody. Alex Gal and Syandra, 1 and 2. The fight for the checkered flag. No more games, boys. This is now a battle royale between the two fastest drivers in this field.
I tell you what, don't discount Dan Sferrier for a podium here. He's got the run on Ian Harvey. It's going to be up the inside into Remus, onto the brakes, and that's naughty. That's really naughty from Ian Harvey, and that's going to be suspension damage for Dan Sferrier. I'll be honest, as much of the what do I say? I mean, look, I'm really annoyed at that. There was no need for that for me on Ian Harvey. It looked like, and again, I'm going to say it looked like the car just turned in on him under braking. And I'm pretty sure that front right is going to be damaged for Dan Sferrier. Yeah, he's going to have a meatball flag on that car, and that is going to be it, done and dusted. Look on the brakes here. Oh, well, I have to take that back. I'll take that back immediately. That looked like it was Dan Sferrier that was later on the brakes and just went straight in the side of Ian. So it looked like then from that angle that Ian was completely the innocent party there. It did look from on board, though, like Ian turned in on under braking.
Here we go again. So this is Ferrier, the number 12 machine, up the inside. They're converging onto the same bit of track, and I hope that Dan Ferrier likes bondage, because he's going to get a smacked bottom at the end of this race for that one. That was a little bit dramatic, unfortunately, in the final minutes. It's a shame as well, because every time I get excited about Dan Ferrier being in a position where he's going to do some damage, he does the wrong kind of damage and something goes wrong. So Dan Ferrier has had a drama-filled day. But look here, Alex Gal, Syandra fighting tooth and nail. Andrew goes to the inside. Gal leaves the door open. He's confident of the speed of the car on the outside line. He can carry the speed through the corner, and Andrew does not make his way past. But these two are winding up for a battle as we're looking again at Dave Perel. This time further down the running order in 9th position, but that is Kieran Sharp. He disposes of to take that 9th place. So Dave Perel sharing the car, of course, today. So not just a solo effort, and Perel, 9th position, pretty solid.
A brilliant effort from David Perel. Good recovery drive as well, as he got sent sideways into turn 2. And just also watching that battle picture then your leader Alex Gal with Syandra. Just 0.3 of a second. As much as I'm enjoying this, as much as I think that this is a cracking little battle, I can't help but feeling that this is 100% these two just toying about. This is just them having a little bit of fun with each other just now. If that changes, and if Syandra accidentally takes out Alex Gall, I will maybe reconsider that. But for just now, the simple fact is, even toying with each other, the two of them are about a second a lap faster than the entire grid, and the real class rising to the top here. Amazing, amazing stuff.
Yeah, bonkers performance from those two. Really plenty of pace to spare. We're riding on board with Dave Perel as he goes wide, coming through the hairpin, snatches a wheel on the inside, can't help but push the front of the car wide, and that gives another opportunity once again for the number 5 that's very firmly staying in the wheel tracks of the South African driver's machine ahead. And this is a bit of pressure now for Dave Perel. Of course, it's not pressure as such. He's used to this kind of thing from his real life and virtual adventures, but he'll still want to hold on to that position. Will Perel and Sharp will still want to take that position away, as we're looking now at Sadith Ramesh in 7th place. Ramesh we've not seen much of over the course of the race, but he's having a very solid encounter to get upside very firmly into the top 10 in 7th place. But Hitchcock, both drivers decided tarmac is not for them and goes to the AstroTurf, and Hitchcock follows through, but he'll fancy his chances in the next couple of minutes and couple of laps remaining at this, the Coach Dave Academy, 2 hours of the Red Bull Ring.
Certainly is. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go here, so surely this is going to be the penultimate lap for these drivers here, as we see Siddharth Ramesh here and Ben Hitchcock on the run up to Remus, then turn 2, and a little bit of nudging, a little bit of argy-bargy. Ben Hitchcock is going to try and get the position under braking. Siddharth is going to try and take that position back on the undercut, but it's not going to happen. That is game, set and match for Ben Hitchcock. And as I said that, I think with it being onto the penultimate lap, we'll get the white flag next time by. I would imagine, Paul, that at this point now it's too late for a safety car, because obviously a safety car would take them over the line as they stand just now.
It would do unless you pulled it in against the regulations nice and early to get a green flag finish. But hey-ho, let's not go there again. By the way, Dan Ferrier out of the race now, so did not finish. Van Bommel still showing in pit lane, but of course he's very firmly out of the race. 6 laps in arrears of our race leaders of which is Gal still from 4/10 of a second from Andra behind. We're looking at Kieran Sharp in position 10. That is just ahead of him. Dave Perel, that is Ramesh just ahead of them, and this is 3 cars becoming 1 on the run down into the Niki Lauda curve. The first turn here at the Red Bull Ring, looking at Dave Perel on board. You can see the main picture, the picture-in-picture is the broadcast cameras, and that's a smile of a man who's enjoying himself, isn't it, David?
It certainly is. You can see their top left confirmation then white flag, and I'm gonna just say this for a second. I am sorry, excuse me, what? Alex Gall and Sai Andra, that last lap, Paul, 1:18.8 for Alex Gall, 1:18.8 for Sai Andra. Are you... What is that? I mean, do they need to get their... Oh my goodness me, as Dave Perel absolutely sends it into Schlossgold there. A little bit of fighting there, little bit of pom-poms at dawn there, as we see Alex Gall side by side for the final corner, Paul.
Fantastic stuff, and there we go. This is our 2 race leaders crossing the line. Alex Gall takes the race victory. Syandra in 2nd place. The 2 most dominant drivers in the field take the plaudits in 1st and 2nd place. Simon Demore rounds out the podium finishers. Dengbol, where did Noah Dengbol come? In 4th place, a fantastic finish. Ian Harvey crosses the line in P5, and this little ding-dong battle, Dave Perel on the final lap takes the position away. He enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one. I'm sure David enjoyed it, and I hope you at home enjoyed it as well. Oh, hello. Let's hope he's not got a direct drive wheel or a motion rig.
Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. These LMP2 cars obviously made from rubber nowadays. That was... wow, that was quite the affair there from Kieran Sharp. Yeah, look, what a race there from everyone. Brilliant to enjoy. Amazing to see Alex Gall taking the win there, but that pace at the end there, that was scary how fast those guys are.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second covering our 2 race winners as well is a phenomenally close finish. But look at that, as you say, David, they pulled 9 seconds 9 seconds from Simon de Moray, despite the fact they were fighting tooth and nail. That is incredible. Car number 17 in 4th position, a further 4 seconds.
Do you know what I'm laughing at, Paul? Is the fact that our words from our broadcast team in our ears is, we're not having a winner by 10 seconds. That was when they pulled out the safety car, and they went and did it exactly as they planned. So, yeah, amazing stuff.
And I've just caught the joke from earlier in the race about the team names as well, which I missed at the time. And, and now that's why I was laughing. I see that one now. But, David, I mean, that's a great way to get over a lousy stinking headache. I got out of bed to do this one and intended to roll back into bed, but the adrenaline, a little bit of off-brand energy drink, and banter with your good self, sir, has worked wonders. That was I enjoyed it as much as that man looks like he enjoyed it.
Yeah, the answer to life is 35p tins of energy drink. That's exactly what you need in your life. In all seriousness, obviously, we hope you get better very, very soon, Paul. But
thank you.
It's what a great night, and I'm just so happy to be part of it. And instantly, I start thinking about what next week's going to bring.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the joy of the virtual motorsport world, that we can do things day in, day out, week in, week out. We don't need to ship everything to the other side of the world. There is no carbon footprint here apart from our computers and monitors at home. And as we say, Coach Dave Academy, SimGrid, we have races on a very regular basis indeed. So if you enjoyed this, or even if you didn't and you take pity on us, please do give us a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for very much more of the same, and better yet, in future days, weeks, months and years ahead. It's been a great... the iRacing at Coach Dave Academy continues to be a phenomenally entertaining experience, Mr. David Christie.
It really is. It's been a brave new world that Coach Dave Academy has ventured into over the past 6 months. It's come on in leaps and bounds, obviously, with their tailor-made, custom-developed setup packs that they are now offering over at CoachDaveAcademy.com. It really is an easy way to get your foot in the door with professional esports racing, get the setups developed by the pros, and get a little bit of a toe in, a toe out. Let's see what I did there. On the competition. But yeah, looking forward to it more next week. And Paul, it's always great to be back in the booth with you.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. And as always, the big thanks to the usual suspects, our broadcast team, Mike Yao. A big thanks to Michael Hamler. A big thanks to everybody at the SimGrid Coach Dave Academy, our drivers, everybody at home, our sponsors, everybody involved in making this space the most wonderfully incredible experience we could possibly wish to have. And David, first one of the year ticked off for me. Alongside you, it's always been a pleasure. Some closing thoughts before we say goodbye, sir?
Just more of the same, please. As always, check on the Coach Dave Academy Discord to get yourself involved for next week's event, and we'll see you on the grid very, very soon.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.